Chapter 81. Innate Dual Spirit Physique, Peak of the Core Formation Realm. What? Arliss reading Omicron N Beta OX Nouvelle. So M. When Li Qingyan heard this, she was stunned. Then, she nodded her head like a chicken pecking at rice. Yes, in the Tianyuan continent, only one among thousands of cultivators could become an alchemist. The title of alchemist itself also symbolized an extremely respected status. Alchemists were people that countless cultivators fawned over. Unfortunately, not all cultivators had dual fire and wood attributes. Very good. In that case, I will personally teach you alchemy, Yi Zan said. What? Could it be the teacher is an alchemist? Hearing this, Li Qingyan was shocked. She had never heard of teacher being an alchemist. Not bad. Yi Zan nodded without blushing or changing his expression. You were born with the dual attributes of fire and wood. You are very suitable to be an alchemist. Now, I will personally teach you alchemy. Then, Yi Zan waved his sleeve and led Li Qingyan into the cultivation room. Then, the two stayed in the cultivation room for 3 whole days. After stepping into the true essence realm, cultivators had already reached a level where they could fast. Their pores could absorb the spiritual energy from their surroundings to replenish themselves. During this period, Yi Zan could be said to have imparted all of the theoretical knowledge he had learned to Li Qingyan. However, he did not demonstrate how to refine pills in front of Li Qingyan. Instead, he chose to teach her how to control the temperature of the flames by hand. He also used words to teach the latter how to refine the essence of spiritual herbs. Now, they had already reached the crucial stage of refining pills. Li Qingyan looked at her teacher's face, which was right in front of her, and her heart started beating rapidly again. She had never come into such close contact with her teacher before. Moreover, she had stayed in the same room with him for 3 days. This was too blissful. However, it was precisely because Li Qingyan was distracted that her pill refining attempts failed. Stabilize your mind. Don't harbor any distracting thoughts. You must succeed. Seeing this, Yi Zan could not help but look at Li Qingyan. What's wrong with this disciple? Why was she always distracted? Did she not know how to respect her teacher's time and effort? Okay. Li Qingyan nodded obediently and frantically screamed inwardly at herself that she should not and could not let her imagination run wild. At such a crucial stage, she must not disappoint her teacher. There were not many medicinal herbs in the cultivation room, and now she was already down to the last batch. If she failed again, she might have to give up. Thinking this, Li Qingyan could not help but take a deep breath, and her gaze gradually became more determined. As she channeled her fire attribute energy, the true essence power in her dantian surged out like a gust of wind. Then, the wood attribute energy in her body was used as a fuel to continuously increase her true essence power, and she used her spiritual sense to control the temperature of the fire. As the temperature of the furnace gradually rose, the true essence flames slowly burned away the impurities inside the medicinal herbs. Seeing this, Yi Zan also took a deep breath. His spiritual sense swept out and slowly helped Li Qingyan remove the impurities of the medicinal herbs. With Li Qingyan's concentration and Yi Zan's help, the impurities of the medicinal herbs were successfully removed. As time passed, the power of the medicinal herbs with different attributes gradually integrated. The embryonic form of a pill appeared inside the pill furnace. Now that you are at the final stage of refining the pill, you must stabilize your mind. Yi Zan's gaze was gentle as he spoke. Then, his own spiritual sense slowly wrapped itself around Li Qingyan's spiritual sense, slowly guiding it as it controlled the temperature of the flame in the pill furnace. Suddenly, the embryonic form of the pill shone brightly, and as the rays of light dispersed, they revealed a round pill that had been fully condensed. Success. Seeing this, Yi Zan's eyes lit up. As the scorching flame slowly dissipated, a round pill could be seen in the furnace. Qi-breaking pill. It was an extremely common first-grade pill that could help Qi transformation realm cultivators break through bottlenecks. Ding. As the host has helped his disciple become an alchemist, the host has received a randomized 812x critical reward. Congratulations. The host has become a 3rd-rank alchemist. The long-awaited system notification finally rang out. At the same time, a huge amount of alchemy experience and knowledge suddenly appeared in Yi Zan's mind. Boom. Yi Zan slowly closed his eyes and digested the experience and knowledge in his mind. From this moment on, he was a top-tier existence among 3rd-rank alchemists in the Tianyuan continent. With the help of the system, he automatically learned how to identify the types of medicinal herbs and now knew the ins and outs of refining pills. Other than that, there were thousands of pill formulas in his mind. The most important thing was that whether it was the experience of refining pills or knowledge of the pills themselves, it was as if he had experienced it all himself. The most obvious change was that the dual attributes of fire and wood had appeared in Yizan's dantian. It was as if he had been born with it, and it perfectly fused with his own power. However, this was not the end. The system's notification rang out in his mind again. Ding! As the host has helped his disciple successfully activate the dual spirit physique, fire and wood, the host has received a randomized 29x critical reward. Congratulations! The host has obtained the innate dual spirit physique, fire and wood. Boom! Boom! As soon as he finished speaking, two powerful auras suddenly erupted. One of them was Li Qingyun's. After she successfully activated her dual spirit physique, her innate bone value soared crazily, and her cultivation continued to rise. The other was Yizan's. Now that he had obtained the innate dual spirit physique, his innate bone value had also been greatly strengthened, and his cultivation also received a boost. The most important thing was that Yizan's body had been greatly strengthened, and an ocean of extremely powerful qi and blood essence was suddenly born. This qi and blood essence contained many elemental powers, including the tyrannical sword qi, the power of violent flames, and the gentle water spirit power. 1. The three powers slowly intertwined and then slowly revolved around the golden core. The golden core that was shining brightly now had three different colored patterns appear out of thin air. At the same time, Yizan made another breakthrough in his cultivation. Naturally, he reached the peak of the core formation realm. At this moment, Yizan seemed to have fused with the entire world. The aura around his body rippled slightly, and it seemed like he had been filled with a terrifying power that could destroy the world. As most would know, the core formation realm was different from the true essence realm and the purple spirit realm. The core formation realm was divided into the Zuden realm, true core realm, and the golden core realm, which were also divided into the early, middle and advanced stages. However, if one included the peak of the core formation realm, there were also 10 levels in total. After one reached the peak of the Zuden realm, the core would be condensed into the true core. Then, it could be slowly condensed into the golden core. However, when most of the cultivators entered the advanced stage of the golden core realm, they encountered a bottleneck at this realm. To reach the peak of the core formation realm, the one had to fuse with that endless ocean of qi and blood essence. Only by allowing the golden core in the dantian to condense those elemental powers into patterns could they truly reach the peak of the core formation realm. The so-called qi and blood essence was the innate power that a cultivator possessed when they were born. In other words, whether it was cultivators or ordinary people, they all had the qi and blood essence in their bodies. However, in comparison, the qi and blood essence in the body of an ordinary person was extremely thin and, after they died, would dissipate at an extremely fast speed. As for golden core realm cultivators, not only were they incomparably powerful, their bodies were tens of times tougher than steel. It was also because of this that the qi and blood essence contained in their bodies was also extremely terrifying. Chapter 82. Should I give it a try? However, the blood and qi essence contained in a cultivator's body was not unlimited. Once the blood and qi essence was exhausted, it was necessary to replenish it. This required plenty of time and resources. Arliss reading Omicron N Beta OX Nouvelle. So in order to reach the peak of the core formation realm as soon as possible, the patriarch of the Xuanian sect did not hesitate to mobilize the entire Xuanian sect. He ordered the Xuanian sect cultivators to go to the various cities of the Great Qian dynasty and slaughter the villages secretly to collect the qi and blood essence of the villagers. One person's qi and blood essence might not be enough, but if the qi and blood essence of tens of thousands, or even millions, were collected, it would accumulate to an extremely terrifying amount. The reason why the patriarch of the Xuanian sect made such a choice was also very simple. He was already old, and had one foot in the grave. The growth of the qi and blood essence in his body had slowed down, which made it almost impossible for him to reach the peak of the core formation realm in his lifetime. This was why he had chosen to undertake such an extreme operation. However, Yizan was different from him. He was young and vigorous, and his qi and blood essence was growing rapidly. Moreover, he had awakened the sword overlord and the innate dual spirit physiques. The stronger a cultivator's innate bone value was, the purer their qi and blood essence would be, and it would also be endless. Moreover, when a special physique was first awakened, an extremely large amount of energy would be generated by the cultivator's body to help them achieve a breakthrough in their cultivation. It was because of this that Yizan was able to reach the peak of the core formation realm. The sword qi generated by the sword overlord physique was extremely overbearing, and imbued his attacks with a strong destructive power. The awakening of the innate dual spirit physique not only further strengthened his attack power, but also ensured his body had an endless supply of power due to the wood attribute. In other words, even if Yi Zan did not use any cultivation methods or high-level martial techniques, and did not even need to use sword intent, he would still be invincible among core formation realm cultivators. Normally, cultivators would not have two different special physiques, but because of the system, Yi Zan had perfectly fused the two physiques. After sensing the surging power inside his dantian, Yi Zan could not help but let out a long howl. He felt invincible. Yi Zan knew that this was an illusion caused by the breakthrough, but it still put him into a good mood. Not only had he successfully helped Li Qingyan become an alchemist, but he had also reached the peak of the core formation realm. Moreover, thanks to the system reward, he had become a third-rank alchemist. My dear disciple, I really love you to death. Yi Zan patted Li Qingyan's head and said with a smile. Li Qingyan could not help but be stunned when she heard this, and then her face suddenly turned red. Her heart beat rapidly, and her small hands clutched the corner of her clothes tightly. Her face was full of nervousness. Now that your strength has greatly improved, you need to familiarize yourself with the power in your body for some time. In your spare time, remember to revise the alchemy knowledge I taught you. Yi Zan instructed her, then waved his sleeve and left. However, before he left, he specifically checked his and Li Qingyan's attributes. Li Qingyan, comprehension value, 320. Innate bone value, 104. 1. Yi Zan, comprehension value, 488. Innate bone value, 596. Because she had awakened the dual spirit physique, Li Qingyan had also advanced to the second level of the purple spirit realm. Once a cultivator's innate bone value exceeded 500, the difficulty of upgrading became higher and higher. Therefore, even though Yi Zan's awakened innate dual spirit physique was stronger than Li Qingyan's, the level of improvement was not as great as the latter. Qingyan sect, 5th mountain peak. Failed again. A voice filled with unwillingness could be heard in the hall, followed by the sound of a pill furnace exploding at the same time. Very quickly, Situ Yufei walked out of the pill refining room, looking rather disheveled. Given his strength, a mere explosion would not affect him. However, because he had failed to refine the soul-returning pill many times, he had been filled with dispirited thoughts, and directly allowed the flames from the explosion to pounce on him. It was precisely because of this that Situ Yufei's face was currently covered in dirt. I've studied it so many times. What exactly went wrong? Situ Yufei pulled at his hair, his brows were tightly knitted together. A third-grade soul-returning pill was a medium-difficulty third-grade pill, but to him, it was indeed very difficult, and the success rate was very low. Situ Yufei could refine ordinary third-grade pills, but he struggled to refine the soul-returning pill. He had already attempted it 5 times, but had failed each time without exception. Whoosh! Suddenly, the sound of moving air could be heard. Yi Zan. Seeing this, Situ Yufei's eyes lit up. I've read your books, so it's time I returned them to you. Then, Yi Zan waved his sleeve, and a pile of books suddenly appeared in the hall. So that's why you came. I thought you were here to refine pills. Seeing this, Situ Yufei felt disappointed. Then, he casually put the books into his storage ring. What's wrong with you? Did you try to refine some high-level pills? Yi Zan looked at Situ Yufei's disheveled hair and dusty face and almost laughed out loud. Soul-returning pill. Situ Yufei replied, with a dispirited look. Do you have any leftover medicinal herbs now? Yi Zan asked. Do you want to refine the soul-returning pill? Seeing this, Situ Yufei could not help but frown. He looked at Yi Zan, his face full of doubt. However, the latter seemed eager to give it a try. Apparently, he had guessed correctly. That's right. If I successfully refine it, the pill will belong to you. If I fail, I will compensate you for the medicinal herbs. Yi Zan said. Once he became a third-rank alchemist, countless alchemy experiences, memories and knowledge had appeared in his mind out of thin air. He also wanted to see if he could successfully refine the pill. Yi Zan, are you stupid? The soul-returning pill is a third-grade pill. You are not even a beginner alchemist. Why are you thinking of refining something far beyond your capabilities? If you want to learn alchemy, why don't you refine the qi-gathering pill? That is the most basic beginner medicinal pill. Seeing this, Situ Yufei's mouth twitched. He gave Yi Zan an earnest suggestion. He always felt that this guy was here to cause trouble. A guy who was not even a proper alchemist actually wanted to refine a third-grade medicinal pill. Was this guy crazy? Chapter 83. I can call you Dad. That's fine too. Arliss reading Omicron and Beta OX Nouvelle. So Yizan did not object. He had just obtained the memories, knowledge and experience of a third-rank alchemist from the system, so his hands were itching to give it a go. Seeing this, Satu Yufei smiled. Although he had failed to refine the soul-returning pill, and was in a bad mood, it would be a comforting thing to watch Yizan embarrass himself while refining the pill. Soon, Satu Yufei and Yizan arrived at the pill refining room. Satu Yufei waved his sleeve, and a brand new pill furnace suddenly appeared in the pill refining room. Then, he took out the related medicinal herbs related to the qi-gathering pill. After doing all this, Satu Yufei stood silently by the side and signaled for Yizan to start refining the pill with his eyes. Yizan smiled, and then the fire attribute power in his body gushed out and poured into the pill furnace. The pill furnace was immediately set alight. Then, Yizan waved his hand, and the medicinal herbs next to him slowly fell into the pill furnace. At the same time, the wood attribute power in his body slowly spread out, fueling the flames and refining the essence of the medicinal herbs. Satu Yufei, who was next to him, saw this scene play out and could not help but stare. He was petrified, and his jaw almost fell to the floor in shock. Fire and wood dual attributes, how did you do it? Satu Yufei's eyes were filled with disbelief. Did Yizan not have fire and wood attributes in his dantian? When did he cultivate this? Did this guy encounter some sort of heaven-defying opportunity again? Thinking this, Satu Yufei's heart was filled with envy. However, what shocked him the most was not the dual attributes of fire and wood, but the skillful way in which Yizan refined the medicinal pill. Was this guy still an unqualified alchemist? His precision in controlling the temperature of the flame and the method he used to refine the medicinal herbs was clearly something that only an experienced alchemist could do. Even he could not perfectly remove the impurities of the medicinal herbs like this, let alone accurately control the temperature of the flame at all times. Although he did not want to admit it, the truth was right before his eyes. Yizan's attainments in the field of alchemy had already surpassed his. This guy was a monster. Satu Yufei did not know how to describe Yizan. It was as if 10,000 horses were galloping through the field that was his heart. Moreover, when he thought about his previous suggestion, he felt even more depressed. He originally wanted to see this fellow make a fool of himself, but he did not expect that the clown was actually him. Very quickly, under the shocked gaze of Satu Yufei, the qi-gathering pill was perfectly formed. The medicinal pill had 3 lines on it. The medicinal pill had 3 lines. It could be said to be a perfect grade medicinal pill. 3-line qi-gathering pill. Satu Yufei looked at the qi-gathering pill that was gradually revealing itself on the pill furnace, and his body could not help but tremble. Although this was only the most basic first-grade pill, even a third-rank alchemist would not be able to refine a perfect first-grade pill. Oh my god, this monster. Elder Satu, about the soul-returning pill. At this moment, Yizan looked at Satu Yufei with a smile. Refine, you have to refine it. Before Yizan could finish speaking, Satu Yufei very quickly took out all the ingredients to refine the soul-returning pill. Then, Yizan repeated the process. As the flames slowly rose, all of the impurities in the medicinal materials were removed. Not long after, the medicinal materials of different attributes slowly began to merge. Oh my god, his technique is too perfect. Satu Yufei stared at Yizan's alchemy technique fixedly. He was afraid that he would miss any details. At this moment, he was completely immersed in the refining process. It was only when the pill furnace slowly emitted wisps of medicinal fragrance that Satu Yufei came back to his senses. FCK, it's also a 3-line soul-returning pill. This is too incredible. Satu Yufei picked up the soul-returning pill. Looking at the 3 lines on the pill, his hand could not help but tremble. He had tried to refine this pill 5 times, but he had never succeeded. Now, Yizan had refined the perfect soul-returning pill without even breaking a sweat. You are a monster. Satu Yufei looked at Yizan, who had a calm expression on his face, completely stunned. How could there be such a monster in the world? Not only did his martial talents suppress the prodigies of this era, he was now also a monster when it came to alchemy. Why was the world so unfair? Yizan, oh, no, brother Yi, why don't you teach me how to refine pills in the future? Satu Yufei looked at Yizan with a fawning expression. His view of Yizan had completely changed. Not only was this guy a cultivation monster, but he was also a top-notch alchemist worthy of his respect. How long had this guy been studying alchemy? He could refine a perfect soul-returning pill. He was practically born for alchemy. Situ Yufei's expression was as if he was looking at his first love, so Yizan could not help but shiver and quickly took a few steps back. Ahem, let's talk about this later. As soon as he finished speaking, Yizan waved his sleeve and turned into a ray of light, flying toward Lingju Peak. Brother Yi, don't go. If you're not satisfied, I can call you dad too. Situ Yufei immediately became anxious. He hurriedly shouted in the direction that Yizan had left, but the latter ignored him and flew off even faster. After some time, Situ Yufei finally recovered from his excitement. Although Yizan did not promise to teach him how to refine pills, he had already gained quite a bit of knowledge from watching Yizan refine pills just now. If he tried to refine the soul-returning pill again, he would definitely have a better chance at success. A master is indeed a master. His mastery of the refining technique is simply unbelievable. I must review it carefully. Immediately, Situ Yufei shut himself off and focused on reviewing what he had learnt. Only after Situ Yufei finished reviewing and memorizing it all did the sect leader and the other elders learn that Yizan could refine a perfect soul-returning pill. What? How did this guy do it? This is too monstrous. I somehow get the feeling that this guy is omnipotent. What's going on? 3-line soul-returning pill. This is a perfect pill. The soul-returning pill that Yizan had refined earlier was immediately treated as a treasure by the sect leader and the elders. They all stared at it intently, their eyes filled with shock. Ha ha ha, no matter what, our Qingyan sect now has a master alchemist. Although everyone wanted to see Yizan make a fool of himself, when they thought about the fact that the sect now had a master alchemist, their hearts were filled with joy, as this would definitely increase the overall strength of the sect. Chapter 84. Secluded Cultivation. As soon as Yizan returned to Lingju Peak, he started thinking of ways to obtain medicinal herbs. Arliss reading Omicron N Beta OX Nouvelle. So After all, he was already a 3rd-rank alchemist. If he could get his hands on a supply of medicinal herbs, he could refine pills and give them to his disciples to reap more rewards from the system. Moreover, he could also obtain higher-grade medicinal herbs via this method. Of course, he had to have medicinal herbs first. It looks like I have to go to Elder Situ's mountain to gather some medicinal herbs. I've refined a perfect soul-returning pill for him anyway. Thinking this, Yizan did just that. Situ Yufei was the only 3rd-rank alchemist in the sect. Naturally, there were many medicinal fields on the mountain. Although the other party might not give him the rare medicinal herbs, he would at least get some ordinary ones. He only needed to get his hands on some ordinary herbs and give them to Li Qingyan, from which he would be able to get higher-grade herbs. After discovering Yizan's purpose in coming, Situ Yufei did not hesitate at all and directly gave him a pile of herbs. Then, Yizan directly gave those herbs to Li Qingyan and Yu. Now that Li Qingyan was already a 1st-rank alchemist, she could naturally use these herbs to refine pills. Although it was useless to give the medicinal herbs to Yu, in order to receive the system's reward, Yizan could not be bothered with that technicality. Besides, Yu could give those medicinal herbs to Li Qingyan. After receiving the system's rewards, Yizan started refining pills in the pill refining room. Time passed quickly, and soon 4 days had passed. Yizan walked out of the pill refining room. Today was very special. It had been a month since Yizan had performed spiritual power infusion for Yu. Thus, Yizan called Yu over. It has been a month since I last performed spiritual power infusion for you. I plan to infuse spiritual power into you to help you reach the purple spirit realm. Yu was wearing a light white robe. Her beauty was like that of a fairy. She was absolutely stunning. Her jet black hair was draped over her shoulders, exuding a cold and aloof aura. However, the moment Yu saw Yizan, she revealed a brilliant smile. As you command, teacher. Her eyes, which were like the stars, emitted a faint light. The smile on her face momentarily stunned Yizan. No one would believe that such a devastatingly beautiful person was so young. All right, sit down cross-legged and we'll begin immediately. Yizan quickly stabilized his thoughts and began the spiritual power infusion process. As expected, teacher is getting stronger and stronger. Sensing Yizan's power, which was like a vast ocean, Yu's heart was filled with emotion. Teacher's talent was extremely monstrous. Could she really follow in teacher's footsteps? However, she did not have time to dwell on this matter at the moment. Once she felt her teacher's spiritual power slowly enter her body, she quickly calmed herself down. After the Qingyan sect competition, Yu had been cultivating and training diligently. Her current cultivation level had reached the peak of the 6th level of the true essence realm. Even without Yizan's spiritual power infusion, she would still reach the 7th level of the true essence realm within 10 days. However, with the assistance of Yizan's spiritual power, which was supported by his peak core formation realm cultivation, you advanced multiple realms in an instant. 7th level of the true essence realm. 8th level of the true essence realm. 9th level of the true essence realm. 10th level of the true essence realm. As Yu's innate bone value was already extremely close to 400 points, she could withstand the spiritual power infusion better now. However, cultivators would gradually need more spiritual power to break through each minor realm, and even more so, when breaking through a major realm. When Yu's meridians and dantian were filled to the brim with true essence power, it meant that she had already reached the 10th level of the true essence realm. If a cultivator wanted to step into the purple spirit realm, they had to condense their own true essence power and open up the void in their dantian. Once the void in the dantian was formed, the true essence power in the cultivator's body would undergo a qualitative change. With the help of the void in the dantian, the spiritual power in the cultivator's body would become even more majestic and, at the same time, strands of purple spiritual power would be produced. This was known as the purple spirit realm. The void in the dantian was also known as the purple mansion. However, the difficulty of forming the purple mansion was extremely high. Many cultivators at the true essence realm spent their entire lives striving, but were unable to cause even the slightest crack to appear in their dantian, which meant that they could not form the purple mansion. Boom! Under the surging strength of Yizan's core formation realm spiritual power, cracks appeared one after another in Yu's incomparably sturdy dantian, naturally forming a void. At the same time, strands of purple spiritual power emerged from her purple mansion, slowly spreading from her dantian to her entire body. Under the nourishment of this purple chi, Yu's cultivation started increasing at a mind-blowing pace. First level purple spirit realm. Second level purple spirit realm. Third level purple spirit realm. Fourth level purple spirit realm. Fifth level purple spirit realm. When you reached the 5th level of the purple spirit realm, Yizan discovered that if he continued the spiritual power infusion, it would cause her cultivation foundation to become unstable. Helpless, Yizan could only choose to stop. Ding! As the host has imparted 90 days worth of cultivation to his disciple, the host has received a randomized 60x critical reward. Congratulations on obtaining 5,400 days worth of cultivation. As the system's notification rang out, strands of boundless qi and blood essence suddenly appeared in Yizan's body. In the next second, the qi and blood essence turned into streams and slowly poured into his golden core, winding itself around it. At this moment, the golden core in Yizan's dantian was almost completely wrapped up by the boundless qi and blood essence, leaving very few gaps. As long as these gaps were filled, he would be able to reach the limits of the core formation realm, and would be considered half a step away from reaching the unity realm. I didn't expect qi and blood essence to be so difficult to condense. Seeing this, Yizan could not help but squint his eyes. Through the critical reward from the system just now, he had gained close to 15 years worth of cultivation. In addition to his extremely monstrous innate ability, he had not expected to still be at the peak of the core formation realm. It was no wonder no one had stepped into the unity realm in the past hundreds of years in the Great Qian dynasty. The difficulty level of doing so was extremely high. However, it was also because of this that a cultivator at the peak of the core formation realm was considered extremely terrifying. On Earth, one might even be regarded as a humanoid atomic bomb. As long as I condense a few more strands of qi and blood essence, I will be able to reach the limits of the core formation realm. At that time, I will be able to break through to the unity realm at any time. At the thought of this, Yizan's pupils flashed with a bright light. Since there had never been a cultivator in the Great Qian dynasty who had stepped into the unity realm over the past hundreds of years, then it would be up to me, Yizan, to break through. At that time, it would be time to settle the score with the Xuanian sect. Thinking this, Yizan asked you to pass on a message to Li Qingyan, the sect leader, and the other elders, that he would be going into secluded cultivation for a period of time. He would not have time to participate in the competition between the three great sects. The participants of this competition were the sect's disciples anyway. The sect leader and elders were only there to keep an eye on things to prevent accidents from happening. It did not matter whether Yizan participated or not. Chapter 85. Choosing a time of death for Yizan. Just after Yizan went into secluded cultivation, a major event happened in the Xuanian sect. Arlis reading Omicron N Beta OX Nouvelle. So in the sect's grand hall. The sect leader and all of the elders were gathered in the grand hall. They were discussing how to kill Yi Zan. Once the patriarch came out of secluded cultivation, he would eliminate the Qingyan sect in one fell swoop. As the second-ranked top sect in the Great Qian dynasty, the Xuanyan sect's strength was extremely terrifying. The Qingyan sect was ranked 10th, and was a far cry from them in terms of strength. Adding the sect leader, vice sect leader, and the elders of the Qingyan sect together, they had 7 core formation realm cultivators. On the other hand, the Xuanyan sect had a total of 18 elders who had reached the core formation realm. Including the sect leader and the vice sect leaders, they had 21 cultivators in the core formation realm. In terms of the number, as well as the quality, of their core formation realm cultivators, their Xuanyan sect clearly eclipsed the Qingyan sect by a country mile. The sect leader of the Xuanyan sect was at the advanced stage of the Golden Core realm, while the 2 vice sect leaders were in the early stage of the Golden Core realm. The chief elder's strength had reached the advanced stage of the True Core realm, and he was only a hair's breadth away from reaching the Golden Core realm. Even the weakest of the 18 elders had reached the early stage of the Zuden realm, and was about to advance to the middle stage of the Zuden realm. It was precisely because of this that the various elders of the Xuanyan sect had the confidence to choose to besiege Yi Zan back then. However, there was now a very serious problem. Not only was Yi Zan alive, but he had even killed the beloved personal disciples of the 9th elder, Li Wuji. Most importantly, Yi Zan had also learned about the fact that the Xuanyan sect had massacred villages to collect qi and blood essence from the common folk. Therefore, before Yi Zan spread the news, they had to kill him swiftly in order to completely keep this secret hidden. Everyone, the patriarch will finish his secluded cultivation session in a few days. When do you think it would be better for Yi Zan to die? The sect leader of the Xuanyan sect sat at the head of the table with a cold expression, looking at the vice sect leaders and elders below. Everyone had already agreed to kill Yi Zan. Whether it was his act of killing Li Wuji's personal disciples or his possession of the knowledge that the Xuanyan sect had massacred the villages, both warranted death in the eyes of the Xuanyan sect's leadership. Moreover, Yi Zan was a monstrous talent. Although the other party had been poisoned by the 5 poisons powder earlier, who could guarantee that the other party had not obtained a heaven-defying opportunity that would turn the situation around? Therefore, Yi Zan had to die. The only question was when. Some elders suggested that the matter of killing Yi Zan could not be delayed, as they had to prevent him from revealing their secret to the Qian Gate. Some even suggested that they attack the Qingyan sect today and completely wipe them out. Of course, some elders suggested that it was safer to wait for the patriarch to finish his secluded cultivation and give the Huoli, Qingyan and Shenshin sects a big surprise when they held their competition. Ideas and opinions were tossed around left and right, and they were all stuck at an impasse as to which was the best way forward. Everyone, please be quiet and listen to me. At this moment, Li Wuji stood up slowly. Seeing this, everyone stopped arguing and immediately turned their gazes to the latter. Seeing this, Li Wuji said slowly, regarding Yi Zan's matter, there are undoubtedly 2 perspectives. The first is to kill him as soon as possible, and the second is to wait for the patriarch to end his secluded cultivation. Elder Lin, Elder Chen, and the others feel that the earlier the better. After all, Yi Zan's possession of our secret means that he represents a significant threat to our Xuanyan sect. However, everyone has forgotten something very important. Although the Qingyan sect is not as powerful as we are, it is still a top-tier sect with thousands of years of history. The opponent's guardian formation cannot be underestimated. Moreover, why is Yi Zan only known as the strongest genius in 1,000 years since the founding of the Qingyan sect? Why isn't he the strongest genius in history of the Qingyan sect? You may not know this, but before Yi Zan, there were also 2 extremely talented people in the Qingyan sect. One of them even reached the peak of the core formation realm, and possessed a deep understanding of array formations. Although he was killed by his enemies in the end, with his knowledge and mastery of array formations, it's impossible that he didn't leave behind a powerful guardian formation for the Qingyan sect. Do you think we can destroy an array formation left behind by a peak core formation realm cultivator? For now, we can only wait for the patriarch to finish his secluded cultivation, after which we will be able to defeat the Qingyan sect in one fell swoop. Even if we attack the Qingyan sect immediately, it is unlikely that we will be able to harm him, much less kill him. It might even force him to reveal our secret in advance. At that time, our Xuanyan sect will be the one in danger. There are only 4 days left until the competition between the 3 great sects at the Qingyan sect. We just need to wait patiently. Once the patriarch leaves secluded cultivation, we will attack the Qingyan sect immediately and annihilate them all. Li Wuji did not say anything else at this point. He then turned his gaze to the various elders. When the various elders heard this, they could not help but nod to themselves. In their hearts, they agreed with Li Wuji's words. Elder Li is right. However, when the competition between the three great sects is being held, other than the Qingyan sect, the Huoli and Shenshin sects will also be present. Are we going to face these three great sects at the same time? There were also some elders who did not agree with Li Wuji's words. What's there to worry about? If the patriarch is in a good mood, those two sects will be able to survive. If he is in a bad mood, why not just destroy them as well? At that time, we can announce to the great Qian royal family that our Xuanian sect already has an expert who has reached the peak of the core formation realm. Our patriarch will be unmatched by anyone below the unity realm. No matter how many golden core realm cultivators come, it will be of no use. Li Wuji could not help but laugh after he finished speaking. Ha ha ha, Elder Li is right. I am being too cautious. In that case, we will wait patiently for the patriarch to leave secluded cultivation. At that time, the position of the strongest sect in the Great Qian dynasty will be changed. An elder said with a smile. In fact, the strength of the Qian Gate and the Xuanian sect were very similar. The reason why the Qian Gate was able to secure the position of the number one sect in the Great Qian dynasty was because the Qian sect had a peak core formation realm cultivator. The three stages of the core formation realm were divided into the Zuden, True Core and Golden Core realms. The peak of the core formation realm meant that one had completed their golden core. Below the unity realm, peak core formation realm experts were invincible. As long as the patriarch could reach the peak of the core formation realm, even if the Great Qian dynasty learned that they had collected qi and blood essence by massacring villages, so what? 1. Chapter 86. The patriarch is about to leave secluded cultivation. As soon as he finished speaking, the sect leader of the Xuanian sect raised his eyelids slightly. Arliss reading Omicron N Beta OX Nouvelle. So Does anyone have differing opinions on Elder Li's suggestion? I agree. Ji Yuda was the first to choose to stand on Li Wuji's side. I agree. Let's do as Elder Li says. Most of the elders agreed, but a few of them were still a little worried, believing that the sect should not make too many strong enemies. However, advised by the other elders, they were soon persuaded. Once the patriarch reached the peak of the core formation realm, he would be invincible in the entire Great Qian dynasty. Why should they be afraid of a few sects? If they really had the courage to seek revenge, then the Xuanian sect would uproot their sects entirely. Even if the Great Qian royal family objected, so what? The other party would not be able to do anything to the Xuanian sect even though both sides had peak core formation realm experts. After all, the once peak core formation realm experts started fighting, the fallout of their battle would not be something the Great Qian dynasty could bear. In that case, let's do as Elder Li says. Tomorrow will be the day the patriarch comes out of seclusion. Everything will be settled then. The sect leader of the Xuanian sect nodded. He too agreed with Li Wuji's suggestion. Then, the elders continued to discuss how many cultivators should be sent to the Qingyan sect tomorrow, and how many forces should be left behind to guard the sect. Ha ha ha. Once the patriarch is out, everything will be over. As long as Yi Zan isn't dead, I won't be able to sleep well. Ji Yuda said with a smile as soon as he left the grand hall. It is Yi Zan's honor to die at the hands of the patriarch. Hearing this, Li Wuji could not help but smile coldly. Of course, the reason they used such power was not simply to kill Yi Zan. They mainly wanted to shatter the Qingyan sect's guardian array formation and then destroy the entire Qingyan sect. Moreover, among the elders who had besieged Yi Zan back then, the ones who had put in the most effort were Li Wuji and Ji Yuda. Both of them had reached the advanced stage of the Zuden realm. No matter how talented Yi Zan was, it was impossible for him to break through to the advanced stage of the Zuden realm at the age of 20. In other words, any one of them could easily suppress Yi Zan. The real reason why Li Wuji and the others had chosen to besiege Yi Zan back then was to eliminate him as quickly as possible before the Qingyan sect leader and elders could come to his rescue. They wanted to get rid of this genius rival of theirs. Who would have thought that Yi Zan's status in the Qingyan sect was so high that the leader and the elders of the Qingyan sect spared no expense to save him? Even so, Yi Zan was still severely injured by the 5 poisons powder that Li Wuji had used. As the poison of the 5 poisons powder was extremely potent, Li Wuji, Ji Yuda, and the others had not chosen to continue pursuing him back then. Luckily, Yi Zan had awakened the system and neutralized the poison of the 5 poisons powder. However, they would not let Yi Zan off so easily this time. They had to kill him. Moreover, with the patriarch making a move, everything would be foolproof. But if the patriarch kills him, wouldn't the heavenly materials and earthly treasures left behind by that Unity Realm expert fall into the hands of the patriarch? Thinking this, Li Wuji could not help but frown. In his opinion, Yi Zan must have obtained some heavenly materials and earthly treasures left behind by a Unity Realm cultivator. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to neutralize the toxicity of the 5 poisons powder. He was very tempted by these treasures. Forget it. As long as Yi Zan is killed, it will be fine. Maybe the patriarch won't look carefully at Yi Zan's possession. I still have a chance. Li Wuji could only comfort himself like this. In the depths of the Xuanian sect's territory, there was an extremely ancient hall. This ancient hall was vast and deserted, and was not guarded either. Other than the sect leader and a few elders, no one was allowed to approach this place. This was the place where the patriarch of the Xuanian sect was undergoing his secluded cultivation. The patriarch of the Xuanian sect had lived for hundreds of years, and he had survived a huge battle hundreds of years ago. Back then, he had already reached the middle stage of the Golden Core realm. However, although he had survived, his cultivation foundation had been severely damaged. In order to treat his own injuries, he had stayed in seclusion for 300 years. Were it not for the long lifespan of a Golden Core realm cultivator, coupled with the fact that he used the power of the Xuanian sect to collect healing medicines, it would have been impossible for him to recover. After that, he spent another 200 years cultivating and finally reached the advanced stage of the Golden Core realm. However, at the same time, his own potential had been exhausted. If he wanted to reach the peak of the core formation realm, he had to find another way. Due to this, he thought of a method to absorb the chi and blood essence of others. As long as he killed enough cultivators, he could obtain the abundant chi and blood essence in their bodies. However, even if he killed Golden Core realm experts, if the number was small, it would not be able to satisfy the energy requirements needed to reach the peak of the core formation realm. However, if he killed too many Golden Core realm cultivators, it would certainly attract the attention of the great Qian royal family. Perhaps that old monster would even try to suppress him because of this. Therefore, he ultimately turned his attention to the ordinary people. The great Qian dynasty had a total population of 1.7 billion people. Countless people were born every second every day, and the number of deaths was equally as numerous. Perhaps they died from the fallout of battles between cultivators, or were hunted down by their enemies, or were even killed by bandits or monsters. In short, as long as the number of deaths did not exceed a certain degree, the great Qian royal family would not pursue the matter. Therefore, he used the power of the sect to increase the number of disciples. Then, he sent them out to the various cities of the great Qian dynasty to bribe the bandits and order them to slaughter the villages. When the bandits were no longer useful, the Xuanian sect cultivators would cease their partnership with them and kill them. By doing this, they kept the whole matter secret, while also obtaining more chi and blood essence from the bandits they killed. Since they were killing the bandits, they would also be able to use that excuse to drum up public support. It could be said that it was a plan to kill 3 birds with 1 stone. It turned out that the patriarch of the Xuanian sect was indeed very shrewd. As long as the sect concealed their actions and whereabouts of their disciples properly, the great Qian royal family would not be able to find any clues about this matter. Moreover, in order to ensure that the collection of the chi and blood essence proceeded smoothly, he ordered the sect leader of the Xuanian sect to establish a team to monitor their recruited disciples. If they found out that any of them were at risk of leaking their secrets, they would kill them without hesitation. Of course, if someone found out about their collection of chi and blood essence, they would also kill that person. It was not until Yi Zan appeared that the possibility of this whole scheme being revealed appeared. Moreover, he was the first to receive the information. Therefore, even if Li Wuji and the others did not suggest it, he would still kill Yi Zan immediately after leaving secluded cultivation. Previously, he might have been afraid of the great Qian royal family, but now that he had reached the peak of the core formation realm, he no longer had to restrain his ambition. He did not want to remain at the peak of the core formation realm either. He wanted to gather even more chi and blood essence to help him reach the unity realm. Therefore, Yi Zan had to die. Buzz. Suddenly, incomparably terrifying energy fluctuations suddenly rippled out from the ancient hall. The sect leader and the elders who were discussing matters in the grand hall sensed this, and their eyes lit up. Then, they turned into streaks of light and flew out of the grand hall. This is the patriarch's aura. The patriarch has finally advanced. Chapter 87. How could I miss the opportunity to earn free rewards? The powerful energy fluctuation swept across the entire Xuanian sect crazily. It exuded terrifying and overbearing power. Arliss reading Omicron N Beta OX Nouvelle. Even the sect leader of the Xuanian sect, who was at the advanced stage of the Golden Core realm, felt his heart tremble. Is this the power of a peak core formation realm expert? The eyes of the sect leader of the Xuanian sect were filled with shock. Although the patriarch had not made a move, the energy fluctuations he exuded were enough to suppress everyone here. However, this pressure dissipated slowly like the receding tide. Moreover, they had set up an array formation to block the energy beforehand, which prevented the patriarch's energy from leaking out. Otherwise, it was highly likely that it would attract the attention of the other top sects or the great Qian royal family. After this terrifying pressure slowly dissipated, the ancient hall in the depths of the mountain range once again became deathly silent. Congratulations, Patriarch, on your breakthrough. Although they could not sense the Patriarch's aura, the sect leader and the elders knew what had happened. The Patriarch had already reached the peak of the core formation realm. Ha ha ha. After hundreds of years, I, Minghe, have finally reached the peak of the core formation realm. As soon as he finished speaking, wanton laughter rang out. Everyone saw a streak of light flash past before a figure appeared in the air. It was an old man with white hair. He had his hands behind his back and his eyes were filled with glee. He had suffered so much in order to reach this point. 500 years ago, he had been lucky enough to survive that great battle. After that, he had been cultivating in seclusion in the ancient hall to treat his injuries. During this period, the Great Qian dynasty experienced another shocking war. In this shocking war, almost all of the top cultivators of the Great Qian dynasty had perished. Yet, he was lucky enough to survive because he was cultivating in seclusion in the ancient hall. 1. Minghe opened his palm slowly. The center of his palm was filled with surging qi and blood essence. As it rippled slightly, even space was distorted. Seeing this, the sect leader of the Xuanian sect and all the elders were shocked. They could sense the terrible destructive power contained within it, and felt that they could not withstand a single blow of that power. The sect leader of the Xuanian sect was even more shocked. Was this the terrifying power of a peak core formation realm expert? For hundreds of years, no one in the Great Qian dynasty has managed to reach the Unity realm. I will be the first and I will be invincible. Minghe clenched his fist slowly. His gaze was filled with ambition. The power that made heaven and earth tremble slowly dissipated. If the Great Qian dynasty and the Qian Gate did not have peak core formation realm cultivators, he would have become the emperor of the Great Qian dynasty. Congratulations, Patriarch, the Xuanian sect will prosper. The sect leader and elders of the Xuanian sect looked at each other and kneeled before Minghe in unison. Their eyes were filled with respect. Rise. Minghe nodded lightly and said slowly. In 2 days, you will follow me as I flatten the Qingyan sect. 1. We will obey the order of the Patriarch. However, at this moment, the outside world was unaware of the changes that had taken place in the Xuanian sect. Yizan was still in secluded cultivation, and the Qingyan sect, the Huoli sect, and the Shenshin sect were blissfully unaware of the impending danger. They would never expect that the competition between great sects would become the site of a world-shaking battle. Lingju Peak, Cultivation Room. Yizan sat cross-legged on the floor and circulated his spiritual power within his body. He breathed in and out, drawing in the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, and slowly condensing qi and blood essence in his body, turning into blood-red strands that slowly filled in the gaps around his golden core. According to his calculations, it would take another 2 or 3 days to completely fill up the gaps. He also did not expect that, given his monstrous talent, it would still take such a long time to complete this process. However, he soon understood why. When he had infused spiritual power into you earlier, he had obtained 15 years' worth of cultivation, but still remained at the peak of the core formation realm. Only by tempering his qi and blood essence to the extreme could he turn them into the blood-red strands that were coiled around his golden core. In order for the golden core in his body to completely undergo a qualitative change, the number of blood-red strands wrapped around his golden core had to be in multiples of 36. In other words, only by truly forming 36 blood-red strands would the cultivator truly reach the peak of the core formation realm, and more strands would signify the cultivator's progress toward the unity realm. Currently, there were 107 blood-red strands wrapped around Yizan's golden core. He only needed to condense one more blood-red strand to fill in the gaps. In other words, he would reach the unity realm after 108 blood-red strands were wrapped around his golden core. However, condensing a blood-red strand from his chi and blood essence would take several days with Yizan's current innate bone value. From this, one could see how difficult it was for other cultivators to reach the peak of the core formation realm. Going by how things are progressing, I should be able to reach the unity realm before the end of the competition between the three great sects. Thinking this, Yizan smiled. Although the strength of the Qingyan sect was lacking compared to the Huoli and Shenshin sects, the gap between the three sects was not particularly large. Their cultivators might not be much stronger than those from the Qingyan sect. Moreover, in the previous competitions, most of the winners of the competition had only reached the first level of the Purple Spirit realm. Given Yu and Li Qingyan's current strength, they could easily crush them. Moreover, Yizan had his eye on the first place rewards. First was the 1,000-year ice silk armor given by Wan Shanhai. It was an artifact with strong defensive capabilities, which was what Yizan lacked at the moment. Moreover, he could obtain a reward from the system by giving it to his disciple. Then there was the Shenshin sect's Spirit Burst Flower. It was a rare treasure that could increase a cultivator's comprehension value, and its effect was even better than the heart-seeking fruit. Yizan naturally would not let go of any spiritual items that could increase comprehension and innate bone values. As an elder of the Qingyan sect, it was not unusual for him to take up the responsibility for distributing the champion's reward, right? As it turned out, although they were a little puzzled, no one objected. Therefore, he had to end his secluded cultivation before the finals of the competition. Otherwise, he would not be the one to distribute the rewards. Would that not be a huge loss? However, he had just given his disciple a spiritual item that increased her comprehension value a few days ago, so if he repeated it again, he would not receive a reward from the system. Still, Yizan could wait a month before helping them to refine it. At that time, he could continue to reap the rewards once more. Moreover, he had never given his disciples any defensive artifacts. The 1,000-year ice silk armor was a perfect opportunity to earn a good reward. Thinking this, Yizan sped up the tempering of his chi and blood essence. Chapter 88. Are you trying your best to bluff us? The day before the competition, the elders of the Huoli and Shenshin sects arrived at the Qingyan sect with their respective cultivators. Arlis reading Omicron N Beta OX Nouvelle. So M. Each sect had sent 3 elders as their leaders. The leader of the Huoli sect's delegation was the sect's great elder, who was at the early stage of the true core realm. The other 2 elders were at the middle stage of the Zudin realm. The leader of the Shenshin sect's delegation was also the sect's first elder, who was at the same realm as Wan Shanhai. The other 2 elders were at the advanced stage of the Zudin realm and the middle stage of the Zudin realm respectively. Each sect had brought 10 disciples. Just like the Qingyan sect, the cultivators they brought were the strongest personal disciples they had chosen through their respective sects' competitions. Compared to the other top sects, the Qingyan sect, the Huoli sect, and the Shenshin sect had a pretty good relationship. At least on the surface, their relationship was extremely harmonious. However, after arriving at the Qingyan sect, the elders of the 2 great sects secretly hinted to their personal disciples to secretly probe the strength of the Qingyan sect's personal disciples. Although the strength of the contestants would be revealed sooner or later, it was naturally best to be able to hide it. This way, they could catch their opponents off guard during the competition. The cultivators of the Qingyan sect were normally quite good at keeping secrets. However, the disciples of the 2 great sects were too shrewd. They directly provoked them and forced some secrets out. When they learned that the top 2 in the Qingyan sect's competition were Li Qingyan and Yu, they were puzzled. The 3 great sects often interacted with each other, so they had some understanding of the talented cultivators of the other sects. They basically knew all of the personal disciples. However, they were completely unfamiliar with Yu and Li Qingyan. They had never heard of either one before. They had believed the most powerful person in the Qingyan sect was Chen Zhaofeng, the disciple of Wan Shanhai, or the favorite disciple of the great elder of the Qingyan sect. Then, they pulled a few more tricks and successfully ferreted out the background of Yu and Li Qingyan. I didn't expect that Elder Yizan would take in disciples. That's strange. It's said that Elder Yizan is obsessed with cultivation. Now, not only did he take in a disciple, but he took in 2. Are these 2 extremely talented? Geniuses were extremely arrogant, and Yizan was a monstrous genius. In the eyes of everyone, Yizan probably did not choose to take in disciples because his benchmark for doing so was too high. Ordinary geniuses were just like ordinary people in the eyes of the former. Why should he waste his energy teaching them? For Li Qingyan and you to be able to become his disciples, there had to be something extraordinary about them. What? Li Qingyan is actually at the 9th level of the true essence realm. She is indeed a rare genius at such a young age. No wonder she was able to become Elder Yizan's disciple. No way. You said that Yu's strength has only reached the 6th level of the true essence realm. My cultivation level has already reached the 7th level of the true essence realm. If I were to fight against her, wouldn't I easily beat her up? FCK. You're telling me that Yu is less than 15 years old. Ah, it's no wonder she was able to become Elder Yizan's disciple. As expected, they are all monsters among monsters. What did you say? You said that you became Elder Yizan's disciple a month ago, and before that, she was only a refinement realm cultivator. This is too unbelievable, is it not? Oh my god, could it be that Elder Yizan has some great magical power? Otherwise, how could a cultivator who was originally at the 4th level of the refinement realm break through to the 5th level of the true essence realm in just a month's time? What? You said that you only spent a dozen days to break through to the 5th level of the true essence realm. I feel like you guys are taking me for a fool. That's right. Even if high-level cultivators infuse their spiritual power into their disciples, they still wouldn't be able to reach such a level. As the cultivators from the two sects probed for more information, they became more and more shocked. However, over time, they all revealed traces of doubt. Especially those who heard descriptions of Yu and Li Qingyan. Their feats and stories were getting more and more ridiculous. They even felt that the cultivators from the Qingyan sect had tricked them. A cultivator at the 6th level of the true essence realm defeated a cultivator at the peak of the 7th level of the true essence realm in only 10 moves. How is this possible? Do you really take us for fools? We won't fall for such obvious lies. If the peak 7th level true essence realm cultivator was just an ordinary itinerant cultivator, there might have been a slight possibility of that being the truth, but that cultivator was the beloved disciple of the great elder of your Qingyan sect. He is a genius cultivator. How could he be defeated by a cultivator who was a minor realm below him? You said that the martial technique displayed by Li Qingyan had the power equivalent to a full-strength attack of a purple spirit realm cultivator. Brother, please stop lying. I won't believe anything you say anymore. I think if I continue to listen to your lies, you'll start telling us that Li Qingyan and Yu's true strength has reached the purple spirit realm. You are all really talented. Why didn't I realize that the cultivators of the Qingyan sect were such great braggarts? Do you think that everyone is like Elder Yizan? Are you and Li Qingyan both peerless geniuses that are rarely seen in 1,000 years? Elder Yizan is already a peerless genius. How can the disciples he recruited be so monstrous? Are you guys still dreaming? Don't try to fool us, okay? Are our sects still friends? Can you tell us the truth? Okay, stop talking. We will see for ourselves. We want to see if Li Qingyan and you are as powerful as you say. After hearing the information shared by the cultivators of the Qingyan sect, the cultivators of the Huoli sect and the Shenshin sect did not believe a single word of it. The more they heard, the more ridiculous it became. If things were according to what they said, would that not mean that Li Qingyan and you were as monstrous as Yizan? Although Yizan's talent was monstrous, it did not mean that his disciples were the same. Little did they know that Yu and Li Qingyan had both made breakthroughs in the past few days. Soon, the cultivators of the two sects went directly to Lingzhu Peak to see for themselves if Li Qingyan and Yu were as outrageous as the rumors said. Moreover, according to the description of the cultivators of the Qingyan sect, not only were both terrifyingly strong, but they were peerless beauties that could topple nations as well. Unfortunately, everyone was destined to return disappointed. Li Qingyan and Yu were in secluded cultivation, and could not be bothered with those people. Just like that, the cultivators of the Huoli and Shenshin sects were directly shut out. Time flew by and, soon, a day had passed. Today was the day when the three great sects would commence their grand competition. In just one day, the two great sects had not managed to get any valuable information. They even unanimously believed that the strength of Li Qingyan and Yu was just for show, and that it was all nonsense fabricated by the cultivators of the Qingyan sect. Chapter 89. Fairies descending upon the mortal world. However, the moment Yu and Li Qingyan appeared, the cultivators of the Huoli and Shenshin sects were stunned. Arliss reading Omicron N Beta OX Nouvelle. So how could there be such fairies in the human world? Heck, even the cultivators of the Qingyan sect were stunned by their beauty. Yu did not say much. Ever since she awakened her jade sword physique, she became as beautiful as a fairy from a painting. Her face was like chiseled jade, her lips were as red as cherries, and her eyes were like stars twinkling in the night sky. She was like a fairy who was untainted by the secular world. What surprised the cultivators of the Qingyan sect's cultivators was Li Qingyan. Although Li Qingyan's appearance had been extremely outstanding, she was still not as beautiful as you. However, today, everyone felt differently. Li Qingyan was like an untainted, blooming lotus flower. She was extremely beautiful and her eyes shone brightly. Now, whether it was in terms of temperament or appearance, the two were almost at the same level. The two women stood out, and seemingly emitted a blinding light that made the entire world pale in comparison. They were fairies in the mortal world, dressed in green and white, that could topple kingdoms and nations. The reason why everyone had such a reaction was also very simple. Li Qingyan had been the same as you from before. After Yi Zan helped her awaken her special physique, her body underwent earth-shaking changes. Moreover, because of her dual spirit physique, she possessed the warmth of fire and the beauty of life at the same time. It could be said that she was the perfect fusion of two completely different temperaments. It was also because of this that everyone's gaze could not help but fall on Li Qingyan. Moreover, in their hearts, the two women were like high and mighty fairies that could only be admired from afar. Compared to the two women, the rest of the female cultivators were like weeds. They lowered their heads in shame. The two women walked slowly together. When they saw everyone's gazes, their expressions did not change, but they exuded a cold and aloof aura. To outsiders, they would not be as intimate and obedient as they were with Yi Zan. Oh my God, they are too beautiful. Are they the legendary fairies that descended to the mortal world? These two fairies, seeing that I am so handsome, why don't you come and visit me? I thought that the cultivators of the Qingyan sect were deceiving me. If the beauty part is true, then won't their cultivation levels be as powerful as the cultivators of the Qingyan sect described? What kind of genius would be able to match such beautiful fairies? In the entire Great Qian dynasty, I'm afraid that only Elder Yi Zan can do it. Your words make sense, but Elder Yi Zan is their teacher. How can master and disciple be together? Let me bear that cross. I'll make them happy. The teacher is monstrous, but his disciples are monstrous too. How can the world be this unfair? In that case, aren't we going to lose? What nonsense are you spouting? They might be extremely beautiful, but they may not be powerful. Don't throw our morale down the drain before the competition even starts, okay? At this moment, everyone was heatedly discussing the beauty of these two women. When the eyes of the elders of the Huoli and Shenshin sects fell on Yu and Li Qingyan, they were shocked. They were old men who had cultivated for decades. They had seen all kinds of people, but they had never seen such stunning women. They possessed extraordinary temperament, like fairies that had descended to the mortal world. Almost no one aside from themselves compared with them. Are these the disciples that Yi Zan took in? They are indeed stunning. Wait, with my cultivation, why can't I sense their cultivation levels? This is too strange. When did the Qingyan sect have such a high level or a concealment technique? Seeing this, the elders of the two sects were surprised. As core formation realm cultivators, they could not even sense the cultivation levels of these two personal disciples. All of the top sects had secret techniques to restrain their auras, which were similar to the chi storage technique. However, this secret technique was not particularly high level, so it was difficult to block the spiritual senses of core formation realm cultivators. Normally, given their strength, they would easily be able to sense the cultivation levels of Yu and Li Qingyan. Ahem, I'm not too sure either. It must have been specially taught to them by Elder Yi Zan. Seeing this, Wan Shanhai also had some doubts in his heart. Although this matter was a little strange, when he thought of Yi Zan, he felt relieved. What was so strange about what a monster had done? When everyone thought that he had been deeply poisoned, and had half a foot in the grave, he suddenly appeared full of vigor, and his strength had made a huge breakthrough, in just a few days. When everyone thought that he had just randomly found a disciple to inherit his legacy, the other party had awakened an extremely rare sword physique. Moreover, within an extremely short period of time, she had advanced from the refinement realm to the 6th level of the true essence realm. When everyone thought that Yi Zan's strength was only at the early stage of the true core realm, he had become a sparring partner for his disciples. Moreover, he had displayed his sword intent for the cultivators of the entire Qingyan sect to see. It was precisely because of this that Wan Shanhai had been able to comprehend his own sword intent. When everyone thought that it was impossible for him to become an alchemist, he inexplicably became a third-rank alchemist. Moreover, he could easily refine a perfect soul-returning pill. When everyone recalled his astounding feats, they felt a little dazed. They inexplicably felt that their paradigm shifted whenever he was involved. Therefore, was this not just a secret technique that could fully conceal one's aura? Was it not just a little more advanced? What was there to be surprised about? It was all normal, okay. Elder Yi Zan. Seeing this, the elders of the two sects squinted their eyes and then fell into a state of deep thought. Although they did not know what had happened to Yi Zan, he was still the strongest genius of the great Qian dynasty. Although he was inferior to them in terms of experience, his strength had reached the same level as them. Moreover, it was quite normal for such a monstrous talent to possess a high-level secret technique to conceal his aura. However, this also meant that Yu and Li Qingyan's strength was still a mystery. After all, if even the elders could sense their cultivation levels, how could the personal disciples do so? According to the information gathered, Yu was only at the 6th level of the True Essence Realm 10 days ago, and Li Qingyan was only at the 9th level of the True Essence Realm. In just half a month's time, these two girls should not have made any further breakthroughs, right? They should have. The sect leader and the elders of the Qingyan sect immediately showed a guilty expression when they thought of this. After all, these two girls were Yi Zan's disciples. He was no normal person, okay. However, even if their cultivation levels had increased, it should not have increased by a ridiculous amount, right? Chapter 90. The start of the competition. At the thought of this, Wan Shanhai felt an itch in his heart. Arlise reading Omicron N Beta OX Nouvelle. So as a true core realm cultivator, he was still unable to sense the cultivation levels of two personal disciples. If this news were to spread, would it not be a great joke? What exactly did Yi Zan do? Previously, he told me that he had gained new insights into how he could restrain his aura. Could it have resulted in this secret technique? At that time, Wan Shanhai had been unable to sense Yi Zan's cultivation. When his spiritual sense came into contact with Yi Zan's body, it was as if it had entered a fog that it could not extricate itself from. Were it not for this guy taking the initiative to become the sparring partner of his two disciples and displaying his sword intent, Wan Shanhai would not even have known that Yi Zan had already comprehended sword intent. He also did not know what cultivation level this guy had reached recently. Suddenly, Wan Shanhai's heart trembled. Wait, he actually did not know Yi Zan's cultivation level at all. When he left the Qingyan sect with Yu back then, he had already reached the early stage of the true core realm. Regarding this matter, he and the various elders had witnessed it with their own eyes, so there was no way they could be wrong. However, did this guy break through after that? It should have been very difficult to do so within such a short period of time. It was impossible that he did, right? At this moment, Wan Shanhai felt extremely unsettled. Although, logically speaking, it was impossible for Yi Zan to break through so quickly, he had an inexplicable feeling that this guy's cultivation level must have advanced recently, and that it had reached an extremely terrifying level. Was it the middle stage of the true core realm, or the advanced stage of the true core realm? This feeling was too unsettling. Wan Shanhai did not dare to think of the realms beyond that. After all, it would already be incredible to be able to reach the advanced stage of the true core realm in such a short time, let alone anything beyond that. Still, he felt uncomfortable. Right now, he could not sense Yi Zan's cultivation level at all. In his eyes, Yi Zan was covered in a fog that he could not penetrate. FCK. Everything related to this guy is tortuous. Wan Shanhai was on the verge of pulling out his own hair in frustration. Cough cough. Sect leader. At this moment, someone coughed to get Wan Shanhai's attention. Wan Shanhai immediately came back to his senses. After which, he raised his head and discovered that the various elders of the Qingyan sect, and the elders of the two great sects, were all looking at him with strange expressions. Wan Shanhai revealed an embarrassed expression. If he had not been thick-skinned, his face would have turned red from shame. Ahem, let's commence the competition between the three great sects. Wan Shanhai quickly changed the topic. Seeing this, everyone looked puzzled. Was the sect leader thinking about something just now? Why had his expression been so strange? Is Elder Yi Zan in secluded cultivation? The first elder of the Shenshin sect looked around and found that Yi Zan had yet to make an appearance. He turned his gaze to Wan Shanhai questioningly. That's right. Wan Shanhai nodded. Seeing this, the first elder of the Shenshin sect revealed a look of realization. He had chosen to enter secluded cultivation at such a critical moment, presumably because of that matter. It was no longer a secret that the top sects had been fighting for the seven-colored Chaos Lotus back then, and they were also aware that Yi Zan had been severely injured at that time. At that time, some of these elders were present at the scene and had witnessed with their own eyes that Yi Zan had been besieged by the elders of the Xuanian sect. In the end, the sect master and the elders of the Qingyan sect spared no expense to successfully break him out of the encirclement. Now, he had not made an appearance at the competition between the three great sects. They surmised that his injuries had gotten even worse. It had been almost 2 months since the appearance of the seven-colored Chaos Lotus, yet Elder Yi Zan's injuries had not yet healed. However, they did not dwell on the matter. After all, the most important thing now was the competition between the three great sects. The competition format was very simple. It was the elimination format. In order to ensure the fairness of the competition, the rules of the competition were more comprehensive than before. There were a total of 30 participants from the three sects. They would draw lots at the same time. The number of lots would be divided into 1 to 15. Those who drew the same number would fight each other. After the first round of the competition, half of the participants would be eliminated. However, in order to avoid special situations, for example, having powerful participants being accidentally eliminated due to the luck of the draw, there was a second chance. For example, if Li Qingyan fought Yu in the first round, then Li Qingyan would have a high chance of being eliminated. After all, Li Qingyan was only at the second level of the Purple Spirit Realm, while Yu was at the fifth stage of the Purple Spirit Realm. However, Li Qingyan could easily crush most, if not all, of the other cultivators present. It would be unfair if she was ranked lower than 15th because of her first round opponent. Therefore, to avoid any special circumstances, the eliminated participants in the first round would have another chance. After drawing lots, the losing 15 would fight each other. However, among the 15 participants, one of the lucky ones would proceed without fighting. At the same time, the top 15 participants in the first round would draw lots and fight again. After half of the participants were eliminated, the remaining half would continue to advance. Similarly, one more would be able to advance without fighting. Then, the 7 cultivators who won in the second round would advance together with the 7 people who lost in the first round, but won their revival round. After the 2 elimination rounds, only those who were truly strong would remain. There would be 14 people after the 2 rounds of elimination, as well as the 2 lucky people who received a bye. There would be 16 people who would enter the final round. After that, the rules of the competition would be relatively simple. The remaining 16 would battle it out in knockout competition format, quarterfinals, semifinals, and then the finals. Once the rules were explained, the competition between the three great sects officially began. A 6th level True Essence Realm cultivator from the Huoli sect went up against a peak 6th level True Essence Realm cultivator from the Shenshin sect. The cultivators from the 2 great sects were cheering from below the stage. One could see surging True Essence power gushing out of their bodies, and the weapons in their hands emitted a sharp gleam. As their martial techniques clashed, even the extremely tough stage started to crack. When the attacks and shockwaves hit the defensive array formation, it rippled. Boom. After more than 10 rounds, the Shenshin sect cultivator sent the Huoli sect cultivator flying with a slash, ending this battle. In the first battle, the Shenshin sect had won. The second battle. At the beginning of the first round, the 3 sects' performances were all as expected, and there was nothing special about those fights. It was not until Chen Zhaofeng of the Qingyan sect fought the eldest disciple of the Shenshin sect that the elders in the audience showed a hint of interest. The 2 represented the eldest disciples of these 2 great sects, and they were extremely powerful for True Essence Realm cultivators. This battle could be said to be a peak-level battle. Chapter 91. Monster. Boom. Arlise reading Omicron N Beta OX Nouvelle. So M. Chen Zhaofeng took a step forward as his surging True Essence power swept out. 9th level of the True Essence Realm. He has reached such a realm at such a young age. It's no wonder he is a genius of the Qingyan sect. The first elder of the Huoli sect stroked his beard and commented with a smile. What a pity. His opponent is even stronger. Seeing this, the elder of the Shenshin sect responded with a smile. Boom. An even more powerful force swept out, and wisps of purple spiritual power soared into the sky. What? Purple Spirit Realm. When Chen Zhaofeng saw this, his expression changed. He had not expected this fellow to reach the Purple Spirit Realm one step ahead of him. Other than the Shenshin sect cultivators, the eyes of the Huoli and Qingyan sect cultivators displayed their shock. First level of the Purple Spirit Realm. Although his cultivation level was not high, he was still a genuine Purple Spirit Realm cultivator. When was the last time a Purple Spirit Realm cultivator appeared in the competition between the 3 great sects? It had been ages since that happened. However, they now knew very well that Chen Zhaofeng would definitely lose this battle. Their talents were evenly matched. However, the gap between the purple spirit realm and the true essence realm was like a natural chasm. How could he overcome it? You can't win. Surrender. The eldest disciple of the Shenshin sect looked at Chen Zhaofeng indifferently. He did not regard Chen Zhaofeng as his opponent at all. This guy was so arrogant. However, when they thought about the strength of the other party, they felt that it was warranted. Even if the other party had not reached the purple spirit realm, even if he was only at the 10th level of the true essence realm, Chen Zhaofeng would still be unable to defeat him. Let's fight and find out. Seeing this, Chen Zhaofeng gritted his teeth. His pride would not allow him to admit defeat. The next second, the longsword in his hand released dazzling sword chi as it slashed towards the eldest disciple of the Shenshin sect. As the eldest disciple of the Qingyan sect, how could he lose without a fight? Even if he lost in the end, he had to protect the dignity of the Qingyan sect at all costs. How can an ant shake a tree? Seeing this, the eldest disciple of the Shenshin sect shook his head with disdain. He slowly clenched his right hand, and wisps of purple spiritual power swept out. Moments later, his 5 fingers formed a fist, and a purple fist suddenly appeared and flew toward Chen Zhaofeng. A purple spirit realm expert was extremely terrifying. With just one punch, he heavily injured Chen Zhaofeng, smashing him into the defensive array. Boom! PFF'd. Chen Zhaofeng's hand, which was holding the longsword, trembled involuntarily. Streams of blood flowed from his palm, and his face had turned extremely pale. He could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. With just one punch, he had been defeated. Moreover, his opponent had not used his full strength. Otherwise, this punch could have killed him. At the thought of this, Chen Zhaofeng revealed a desolate expression. Half a month ago, when he was fighting against Li Qingyan, this had been the case too. He almost died from her windstorm slash. Now, he had also almost been killed by the eldest disciple of the Shenshin sect. What the FCK is going on? Why are there so many monsters? Why can I not keep up with them? Although it's cruel, this is reality. The eldest disciple of the Shenshin sect looked at Chen Zhaofeng indifferently. Although there was no sarcasm in his words, his eyes were full of contempt. Hee, your strength is indeed terrifying, but you may not be able to win the competition. Chen Zhaofeng used the longsword in his hand to support himself as he got up off the ground with difficulty. He stood up and wiped the blood from his lower lip. Is it because of that Li Qingyan? Seeing this, the eldest disciple of the Shenshin sect raised his eyebrows slightly and then revealed a smile. Even if Li Qingyan's strength is as you said, even if she is able to unleash the strength of a purple spirit realm cultivator, she is still not an actual purple spirit realm cultivator. Do you think that she will actually be able to defeat me? 1. The strength of the purple spirit realm is not something you can imagine. Only after you have truly entered the purple spirit realm will you truly understand it. The eldest disciple of the Shenshin sect smiled faintly. He first looked at Chen Zhaofeng, then his gaze fell on the many cultivators of the Qingyan sect. He naturally knew that the move that Li Qingyan used in the Qingyan sect competition already possessed the power of the purple spirit realm cultivator. However, it was not her own power. In the end, it was only one attack. He was a true first-level purple spirit realm cultivator. How could a true essence realm cultivator compare to him? Even his casual attacks contained an extremely powerful purple spiritual power. No matter how powerful Li Qingyan's martial technique was, it could not be used continuously, right? Seeing this, Chen Zhaofeng turned silent. The other party was indeed a true first-level purple spirit realm cultivator. Although Li Qingyan's attack would probably injure him, it was too difficult for her to defeat this guy. I have an inexplicable desire to see senior sister Li Qingyan chop him up with her sword. Exactly, this guy is asking for a beating. Look at his arrogant expression. I really want to slap him. But what can we do? After all, the other party only stated a fact. Although senior sister Li Qingyan can temporarily unleash the strength of a purple spirit realm cultivator, she is only a true essence realm cultivator in the end. That's right, the gap between the purple spirit realm and the true essence realm is like a natural chasm. It's too difficult to cross. I just can't stand this guy's arrogance. What's there to be proud of? Isn't it just the first level of the purple spirit realm? Can his talent be compared to Elder Yizan? Hee, throughout the entire Great Qian dynasty, which genius can be compared to Elder Yizan? He has only reached the first level of the purple spirit realm at the age of 19. Isn't that embarrassing? Elder Yizan reached the core formation realm at the age of 20. That's right. Based on this guy's achievements, he's not even worthy of carrying Elder Yizan's shoes. In terms of strength, perhaps this guy is currently the strongest, but in terms of talent and age, Elder Yizan's disciple definitely has you beaten, okay. Although they are only true essence realm cultivators, that's because they are younger than you. That's right. If they were your age, senior sister Yu and senior sister Li Qingyan would definitely crush you. At this moment, many cultivators of the Qingyan sect were furiously arguing. This guy was too arrogant. Although there was no mockery on the surface, the contempt contained in his words and expression was extremely clear. Were it not for the fact that they could not beat him, they would have ran up to the stage to give him a slap. When the eldest disciple of the Shenshin sect heard their words, his face turned purple. He had not expected the disciples of the Qingyan sect to be so vicious with their words. At the age of 19, he had already reached the first level of the Purple Spirit realm. He was already a super genius in the Great Qian dynasty. As long as nothing unexpected happened, he would definitely be able to advance to the core formation realm in the future. Even the current him, after revealing his identity and strength, would be able to command awe and respect, especially in those more ordinary cities and sects, where they would treat him like their ancestor and worship him. However, in the eyes of this group of cultivators from the Qingyan sect, he was a worthless person. Furthermore, he could not refute their words. Yizan, this guy, was too monstrous. Yizan was a monstrous existence that suppressed all of the genius cultivators of the Great Qian dynasty. In addition, in the eyes of the Qingyan sect cultivators, it seemed that Yizan's disciples were even more monstrous than him. One had reached the 6th level of the True Essence realm before she was 15, and the other had reached the 9th level of the True Essence realm before the age of 18. In comparison, he had only been a Qi Transformation realm cultivator at the age of 14. So it seems that I am not as monstrous as others. Chapter 92. One Sword Strike. However, although he could admit that he was inferior to Yizan, he would never admit that he was inferior to his disciples. Arliss reading Omicron N Beta OX Nouvelle. So no matter how monstrous Yizan's disciples' talent is, at the very least, they are currently inferior to me. HMPH. There is no absolute fairness in this world. Later, I will defeat them one by one. At that time, I will see what these disciples of the Qingyan sect have to say. The eldest disciple of the Divine Mountain sect could only console himself inwardly like this. Only then did his expression take a turn for the better. However, now that his fight had already ended, he would have to wait until the second elimination round of the competition to see if he would face Yu or Li Qingyan. During this period, Yu and Li Qingyan also welcomed their opponents. Everyone's gazes fell on the two beautiful women. They could not help but scream in excitement. When the two women defeated their opponents with just one sword strike, many of the disciples of the Qingyan sect jumped up in excitement. Senior Sister Li, Senior Sister Li, Senior Sister Yu, Senior Sister Yu. At this moment, the crowd's screams resounded throughout Qingyan Mountain. Their strength is indeed formidable. I had not expected the stories of the Qingyan sect disciples to be true. The cultivators of the Huoli and Shenshin sects were shocked when they saw this. Yu and Li Qingyan were as powerful as the rumors said. Moreover, the two girls' opponents were too weak, so they had not even revealed their true strength. Therefore, the true cultivation level of these two girls was still unknown. It's really strange. What kind of secret technique are they using? Why can it block our spiritual sense probing? Seeing this, the elders in the audience frowned. Up until now, they still could not figure out Li Qingyan and Yu's cultivation levels. Normally, cultivators could indeed use secret techniques to conceal their cultivation. However, during a battle, once they started channeling their spiritual power to use martial techniques, they would no longer be able to conceal their cultivation. However, what shocked them was that their spiritual senses were still unable to sense Yu and Li Qingyan's cultivation levels while they fought their opponents. In other words, unless the two women took the initiative to expose their cultivation levels voluntarily, no one would be able to figure out their level of strength. It seemed that Yizan had imparted a high-level secret technique to these two women. These two girls are really extremely lucky to have been able to meet such a good teacher like Yizan. For a moment, the elders of the Huoli and Shenshin sects all revealed looks of envy. A secret technique that could conceal one's cultivation was already extremely rare, let alone a secret technique that could conceal one's cultivation while fighting. With this, unless they voluntarily revealed their strength, their enemies would never be able to figure out their level of strength. This was truly a powerful advantage to have in the cultivation world. Moreover, if these elders were to ask themselves, if they had such a secret technique, would they be willing to teach it to their disciples? No, at the very least, they would have to set many tests for their disciples to pass and gain their trust before considering whether to teach them the technique or not. Did Yi Zan not value this secret technique, or did he trust these two girls that much? Yu and Li Qingyan did not know what the elders were thinking, but even if they knew, they would only smile. Was this secret technique all that great? Their teacher had taught them far more than this. Moreover, every single thing he taught or gave them was extremely precious. How could these elders imagine such a thing? Their teacher's kindness would forever be hidden in their hearts. Moreover, Yu and Li Qingyan knew very well that even if they spent their entire lives trying, they probably would not be able to repay their teacher's kindness. Time passed slowly. Very quickly, the competition between the three great sects reached a crucial stage. Moreover, each and every match that Yu and Li Qingyan partook in made the audience feel more and more shocked. Their eyes seemed to have been permanently widened in shock. No matter what kind of opponent they met, they were all defeated with a single blow. 6th level of the True Essence Realm, 1 sword strike. 7th level of the True Essence Realm, 1 sword strike. Even the eldest disciple of the Huoli sect, an expert who had reached the 10th level of the True Essence Realm, was also instantly defeated by Yu's single sword strike. When everyone saw this scene unfold, their eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. What did it mean to be able to defeat a 10th level True Essence Realm expert with 1 sword strike? It meant that Yu's strength had already reached the Purple Spirit Realm. Were you sure that she was only at the 6th level of the True Essence Realm before? Could a 6th level True Essence Realm cultivator do this? All of a sudden, many cultivators had strange expressions on their faces. At this moment, the competition had reached the top semifinals. Li Qingyan was up against the eldest disciple of the Shenshin sect. Boom! The eldest disciple of the Shenshin sect cast a meaningful gaze at Li Qingyan, and his Purple Spirit Realm aura revealed itself. Boom! Li Qingyan also did not choose to continue hiding her cultivation. The longsword in her hand vibrated, and the terrifying power of her 2nd level Purple Spirit Realm cultivation swept out. In addition, the dual spirit physique in Li Qingyan's body also exploded with power. One of her eyes was fiery red, and the other one was a lively green. Purple Spirit Realm. And it's the 2nd level of the Purple Spirit Realm too. When the first elder of the Shenshin sect saw this scene, he stood up with a face full of shock, and his eyes were transfixed on Li Qingyan. When the others saw this, they were also beside themselves in shock and disbelief. The elders of the Shenshin sect were dumbfounded, and so were the elders of the Huoli sect. The sect leader of the Qingyan sect and the other elders' mouths were wide open, and they were petrified. Purple Spirit Realm. The 2nd level of the Purple Spirit Realm. At the age of 18. How could this be? Wasn't she supposed to be at the 9th level of the True Essence Realm? Chen Zhaofeng's expression changed drastically. He stood on the spot as if he had been struck by lightning. When the eldest disciple of the Shenshin sect saw this, his expression also changed drastically. Didn't the information say that this woman was only at the 9th level of the True Essence Realm? What was with her current 2nd level Purple Spirit Realm cultivation? She had broken through to the Purple Spirit Realm at the age of 17. When had it become so easy to reach the Purple Spirit Realm? Back then, I had to use all of my strength to barely break through to the Purple Spirit Realm. Why was there such a huge difference between us? Although his heart was filled with shock, the purple spiritual power in his body still swept out. The reason for this was none other than that the fight had already begun. The storage ring in his hand flashed with light, and an incomparably sharp saber suddenly appeared in his hand. Faced with a powerful 2nd level Purple Spirit Realm cultivator, he had to go all out if he hoped to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. Swoosh! The eldest disciple of the Shenshin sect was as fast as lightning. His sharp saber was suffused with a terrifying purple spiritual power. The Purple Spirit Realm aura that erupted from him made everyone's heart tremble. Was this the true strength of a Purple Spirit Realm cultivator? This person probably had not even used 1/10 of his strength when he defeated Chen Zhaofeng earlier. Chapter 93. The arrival of the Xuanian sect leader. However, moments later, the shocked expressions on everyone's faces froze. Arliss reading Omicron N Beta OX Nouvelle. So M. Boom. When the sharp saber shone brightly, the fiery red color in Li Qingyan's right eye, and the lively green color in her left eye, suddenly switched places. She waved the longsword in her hand slightly. The expression on the face of the eldest disciple of the Shenshin sect changed drastically, as if he had been struck by lightning. Cracks appeared on the saber in his hand, and he was sent flying like a cannonball toward the defensive array formation. Just like Chen Zhaofeng, the Shenshin sect's eldest disciple's body crashed into the stage, creating a deep pit. The Shenshin sect's eldest disciple tried to climb up with great difficulty, but he felt an extremely violent force wreaking havoc in his body. He could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Oh my god, she actually beat her with one sword strike. 1. No matter how terrifying a second-level Purple Spirit Realm expert is, she shouldn't be able to defeat a first-level Purple Spirit Realm expert in one strike, right? Could it be that senior sister Li's strength has exceeded the second level of the Purple Spirit Realm? Everyone looked at her with shock-filled gazes. From the beginning to the end, Li Qingyan had remained motionless, except for that one sword strike. It was obvious that she had not used her full strength at all. A monster. She was a monster comparable to Yi Zan. This battle has been won by Li Qingyan from the Qingyan sect. After the host announced the victor, everyone came back to their senses. The arena erupted with screams and shouts. Countless fans shouted Li Qingyan's name with flushed faces. We won. Senior sister Li Qingyan was too cool. She actually defeated that arrogant guy in an instant. However, when everyone's excitement reached its peak, a cold voice suddenly rang out. Hee, your Qingyan sect is quite lively. Although the voice was not loud, everyone heard those words very clearly. Immediately, the deafening cheers suddenly disappeared. Many cultivators revealed puzzled expressions. However, the expressions of the sect leader and the various elders in the audience changed drastically. Who is it? May I know which honored personage has descended upon our Qingyan sect? Wan Shanhai's expression changed drastically as he stood up. His forehead was quietly dripping with sweat. The young disciples might not have realized the danger, but the moment the voice rang out, he felt an inexplicable sense of fear in his heart. It was obvious that the owner of the voice was extremely strong, and greatly surpassed him. The competition between the three great sects is indeed quite lively. As soon as he finished speaking, an illusory figure suddenly appeared in the air. That illusory figure appeared above Qingyan Mountain in an instant. He was a middle-aged man wearing a splendid golden black robe. It's you. Wan Shanhai's expression turned gloomy when he saw this person, and he clenched his fists tightly. He would recognize this person even if he turned into ashes. It was the sect leader of the Xuanian sect, Ming Shui. He was a top-tier sword cultivator in the advanced stage of the Golden Core realm. Why did this guy come to the Qingyan sect? Moreover, what Wan Shanhai feared the most was not Ming Shui. It was the Xuanian sect's patriarch, Ming He. Although Ming Shui had come, he could still use the Mountain Guardian array formation to fight against him. But if the patriarch who had been in secluded cultivation appeared, it meant that he had broken through to the peak of the Golden Core realm and was invincible within the core formation realm. Wan Shanhai's expression turned grave, and the elders of the Qingyan sect also became vigilant when they saw this. The spiritual power in their dantian gushed out endlessly as they prepared for battle. However, they did not act rashly. After all, the other party was a top-tier sword cultivator in the advanced stage of the Golden Core realm, a terrifying existence who could crush them. The elders of the Huoli and Shenshin sects were also shocked by this sudden turn of events. They were unsure as to why the sect leader of the Xuanian sect had shown up here at Qingyan Mountain, and what the other party's intentions were. However, whether it was them or Wan Shanhai, they all had an ominous premonition in their hearts. The sudden arrival of a top-tier sword cultivator in the advanced stage of the Golden Core realm meant that something big was about to go down. Moreover, the other party was already among the strongest cultivators in the Great Qian dynasty. Aside from peak core formation realm cultivators, no one else could suppress him. Ming Shui, what is the purpose of your visit here? Wan Shanhai stared at Ming Shui with a serious expression. Although the opponent was strong enough to kill him, they were in the territory of the Qingyan sect. He would not be afraid of an advanced stage Golden Core realm expert on his home ground. Most importantly, the two sects were not on good terms with each other, especially after the incident with Yi Zan. It could be said that they could even be regarded as enemies. However, Wan Shanhai was very clear in his heart that the strength of the Xuanian sect was too terrifying. Even if he wanted to take revenge, he might not have the chance. However, the sect leader and various elders of the Qingyan sect were united in spirit. If Yi Zan had really fallen at the hands of the Xuanian sect previously, even if they were unable to avenge Yi Zan, they would definitely have made the Xuanian sect pay a heavy price. However, Yi Zan was lucky enough to survive, and his strength had improved by leaps and bounds. It was also because of this that Wan Shanhai gave up on the idea of targeting the Xuanian sect. However, He did not expect that, despite not targeting them, they had come to look for trouble with him instead. Was it also because of Yi Zan? At the thought of this, Wan Shanhai's facial expression changed. You don't have to be so nervous. I just want to watch the competition between your three sects. Ming Shui stood in the air with a smile on his lips. Those who did not know the actual context would think that he and Wan Shanhai were good friends who had known each other for many years. However, Wan Shanhai did not relax because of this. A jade token in his storage space was quietly withdrawn. As long as the other party made a move, he would immediately crush it. At that time, the Qingyan sect's Mountain Guardian Array formation would be instantly activated. Moreover, the Mountain Guardian Array formation was divided into 2 layers. He could use the jade token in his hand to instantly activate the first layer of the array formation. In order to activate the second layer of the array, he would require the assistance of many cultivators of the Qingyan sect to form an array formation. By doing this, he would be able to completely activate the core of the array formation. With his current strength, he was simply unable to resist an advanced stage Golden Core Realm expert. To put it bluntly, even if all the experts present joined hands, they would still be unable to resist the opponent. If Ming Shui's had only been an early stage Golden Core Realm expert, then perhaps everyone still had a sliver of hope. However, the opponent had reached the advanced stage of the Golden Core Realm. Only by activating the Mountain Guardian Array formation could they resist the opponent. Right at this moment, Ming Shui was looking down at Wan Shanhai and the various elders with a smile. Seeing his glance, everyone could not help but tense up. The atmosphere around Qingyan Mountain had become extremely solemn, and the expressions of many cultivators had turned serious. What kind of existence was this person who could casually suppress the sect leader and the various elders? Chapter 94, Crisis. Ming Shui stood in midair, looking around the crowd as if he was looking for something. Arliss reading Omicron N Beta OX Nouvelle. So M. His expression was calm at first, but after a moment, he frowned slightly. Where was Yi Zan? Why did he not see Yi Zan here? The Xuanian sect had mobilized the sect leader, 2 vice sect leaders and 13 elders, in addition to the patriarch. In total, 17 core formation realm cultivators had come to Qingyan Mountain. The reason why Ming Shui had appeared was to determine Yi Zan's location. This way, he could kill him instantly and prevent him from exposing the secret of the Xuanian sect collection of qi and blood essence. However, his spiritual sense had scoured all of the Qingyan sect members present, yet he had not found Yi Zan. This meant that there were 2 possibilities. First, Yi Zan was not on Qingyan Mountain at the moment. Second, Yi Zan was on Qingyan Mountain, but had used an array formation to conceal his aura and presence. It was very likely that the other party was in secluded cultivation. If they could not determine Yi Zan's location, they would be able to kill him quickly. Wan Shanhai and the other elders looked at Ming Shui, whose expression was gradually turning colder and colder. Their bodies could not help but tense up. What was this guy trying to do? Where is Yi Zan? After Ming Shui failed to obtain the result he wanted, he turned his gaze to Wan Shanhai, and a cold gleam flashed across his eyes. Wan Shanhai and the other elders' faces changed greatly when they heard his question. As expected, this guy had come to the Qingyan sect because of Yi Zan. The damn Xuanian sect was still unwilling to let Yi Zan go. Many thoughts flashed through Wan Shanhai's mind. No matter what, the Xuanian sect must have somehow confirmed that Yi Zan was still alive. Previously, their elders had failed to besiege Yi Zan. After finding out that Yi Zan was still alive, they were probably afraid of Yi Zan's talent and feared that Yi Zan would take revenge in the future. This was why they had come to the Qingyan sect. They wanted to eradicate him. Elder Yi is temporarily training outside. He is not in the Qingyan sect. Wan Shanhai said calmly. He wanted to force them to hand over Yi Zan. Impossible. Putting aside the fact that he and the elders had practically watched Yi Zan grow up, simply based on the fact that Yi Zan was monstrously talented, the Qingyan sect would definitely not hand him over. This guy was the living signboard of the Qingyan sect. Moreover, if nothing unexpected happened, he would definitely be able to reach the Golden Core Realm in the future. As long as Yi Zan could reach the Golden Core Realm, they would no longer have to be afraid no matter how powerful the Xuanian sect was. Moreover, the Qingyan sect still had the Mountain Guardian Array formation. They did not need to fear cultivators in the advanced stage of the Golden Core Realm. Humph, you shouldn't lie to me. Ming Shui squinted his eyes slightly as he looked at the jade token in Wan Shanhai's hand. Although his aura is untraceable, he must be in the Qingyan sect. If you let me thoroughly search the Qingyan sect, then I'll believe that you are not lying. Why should we agree to your request? Before Wan Shanhai could reply, Lin Qing, who was not far away, could no longer hold it. She naturally knew that the jade token to activate the Mountain Guardian array formation was in Wan Shanhai's hands. Therefore, although she was extremely nervous while facing a top-tier powerhouse at the advanced stage of the Golden Core realm, she was not afraid. The most important thing was that, through Huang Ling and Shui Min's stories, she already had her guesses regarding Yi Zan's current cultivation. Of course, those were just her guesses. She was also unaware of Yi Zan's exact cultivation level. Even if Yi Zan had really reached the Golden Core realm, he might not be able to resolve the current crisis that the Qingyan sect was facing. After all, Ming Shui was an advanced stage Golden Core realm cultivator. Why? Seeing this, Ming Shui glanced at Lin Qing coldly. Yi Zan killed the personal disciples of an elder of the Xuanian sect. Shouldn't I pursue this matter? As soon as he finished speaking, everyone's expressions changed. So Yi Zan had killed the personal disciples of an elder of the Xuanian sect. It was no wonder that Ming Shui had come to the Qingyan sect then. This guy was too bold. He even dared to kill the personal disciples of an elder of the Xuanian sect. Even if he wanted to take revenge on the Xuanian sect, he should not have done it so obviously. He was too impulsive. However, was Yi Zan not seriously injured and currently in secluded cultivation? How could he kill the personal disciples of the elder of the Xuanian sect? The elders of the Huoli and Shenshin sects squinted their eyes. They were uncertain as to whether or not Ming Shui was speaking the truth. If it was really Yi Zan's doing, they could also understand his appearance here. Was it really Elder Yi Zan's doing? What should we do? Many cultivators of the Qingyan sect were worried about the situation. They did not know that Yi Zan had once been besieged by all of the Xuanian sect's elders. Therefore, after learning that Yi Zan had killed the personal disciples of an elder of the Xuanian sect, their hearts were full of confusion and worry. If he had killed ordinary outer sect disciples, there would be no need for such a hoo-ha. However, the ones who had died were the personal disciples of an elder of the Xuanian sect. Killing them was almost equivalent to declaring war on the Xuanian sect. Huang Ling and Shui Min, who were in the crowd, revealed complicated expressions when they saw what was happening. They had never expected the Xuanian sect to find out about this matter. If this was the case, the two sects would not be able to find a peaceful resolution to this matter. Yi Zan had killed Duan Wuji in order to save them, so they were both feeling extremely guilty at this moment. However, they were too weak, and they were not qualified to face the Xuanian sect directly. Seeing this, Yu tightened her grip on the longsword in her hand. They had come in the end. Could her teacher deal with such a powerful opponent? She was not confident. Although she knew that her teacher was very strong, she was not clear about his exact cultivation level, let alone whether he could resist the power of an advanced stage Golden Core realm expert. Still, no matter what, she would choose to live and die by her teacher's side. If there was really no way out, she would also choose to go to the netherworld with her teacher without hesitation. She would never abandon her teacher in this life. Ever since she became her teacher's disciple, ever since her teacher traveled thousands of miles to avenge her blood feud, her life had already belonged to her teacher. Li Qingyan's thoughts were the same. Although she had not personally experienced the incidents between Duan Wuji and Duan Wui, Yu had already told her about the past. When her teacher had helped her to awaken the dual spirit physique, she had sensed the strength of Yi Zan. Her teacher's power was like an abyss, deep and unfathomable. Unfortunately, her feelings were just feelings. She did not know exactly how strong Yi Zan was. Still, no matter what, were it not for her teacher's appearance, she would have long been sacrificed for the survival of her family, or perhaps she would have become Chen Ping's plaything. Her teacher's kindness was a debt she planned to spend her whole life repaying. Even if she had to sacrifice her own life to repay it, she would not hesitate. The two of them had only joined the Qingyan sect for a short period of time, so they did not know about the Mountain Guardian array. So what though? They had no intention of retreating. As long as they could stay by their teacher's side, death was an acceptable cost. Chapter 95. Yi Zan, are you still going to hide? Your words mean nothing. Do you have any evidence? Arliss reading Omicron N Beta OX Nouvelle. So M. Wan Shanhai narrowed his eyes and looked at Ming Shui. Ridiculous. I am the sect leader of the Xuanian sect. Do you think that I will accuse someone unjustly? Seeing this, Ming Shui revealed a sneer while his hands were behind his back. Come out. Whoosh, whoosh. Two streams of light flashed past, and Li Wuji and Ji Yuda suddenly made their appearance. They were each carrying a true essence realm cultivator from the Qingyan sect. Seeing this, the faces of the elders changed. Could it be that Ming Shui was not the only one from the Xuanian sect who had come today? Tell me what you know. Is Yi Zan the murderer who killed my beloved disciples, Duan Wuji and Duan Wui? They had casually picked up the two true essence realm cultivators. Yes, yes, yes. I saw Elder Yi Zan kill the two of them with my own eyes. I swear on my life that it was indeed Elder Yi Zan's doing. Feeling the terrifying power that radiated from Li Wuji's fingertips, the two of them could not help but tremble. It's really ridiculous. Do you think that you can convict an elder of my sect with just a one-sided statement? As for the truth, you'd better wait for Elder Yi Zan to return. He will respond to your accusations. Besides, I've never seen those two men in my Qingyan sect. Wan Shanhai said with a sneer. It seems that you guys are not going to take the easy way out. Seeing this, Ming Shui's eyes turned cold. This group of stubborn old men. It seemed that killing all of you was the only way to make you understand the terror of the Xuanian sect. However, he was still a little worried. He himself could not detect Yi Zan's whereabouts, and the patriarch had not appeared. Could it be that even the patriarch could not detect Yi Zan? Could it be that what Wan Shanhai said was true, and that Yi Zan was really training in the outside world? Or was the secret array formation he had constructed too high level? In their plan, they had to confirm Yi Zan's location as soon as possible, then divert Wan Shanhai's attention. Before the other party could activate the Mountain Guardian array formation, they would kill Yi Zan as fast as they could, preferably instantly. As long as they were fast enough, Yi Zan would not have time to react before he died. At that time, no one would know that the Xuanian sect had been collecting qi and blood essence. This was the safest way. However, they were unable to determine Yi Zan's location, so it was obvious that their plan had failed. Their only choice was to act now. After the Mountain Guardian array formation was activated by Wan Shanhai, Yi Zan would not continue hiding like a mouse, would he? However, if they did things this way, Yi Zan would definitely choose to expose the fact that the Xuanian sect was collecting the qi and blood essences of commoners by massacring villages. Still, so what? With the patriarch around, no one would survive today. Even the great Qian royal family could no longer do anything to them. Since the patriarch had already reached the peak of the core formation realm, there was no need for them to fear the great Qian royal family at all. They could even continue to carry out the collection of qi and blood essence openly. As long as the patriarch advanced to the unity realm, he would become the absolute ruler of the great Qian dynasty. Shua, Ming Shui's figure suddenly disappeared, and a terrifying power suddenly filled the world. At the same time, Wan Shanhai quickly crushed the jade token in his hand. Moments later, Qingyan Mountain began to tremble, and countless mountain peaks emitted resplendent pillars of light and energy, which then condensed into an enormous energy barrier that completely enveloped the Qingyan sect. Humph! Seeing this, Ming Shui snorted coldly. Although he had moved extremely quickly, the Mountain Guardian array formation had still been successfully activated. I would like to see for myself just how hard this turtle shell of yours is. As soon as his words were spoken, his surging golden core power suddenly swept out. His fist emitted bright and dazzling golden light, and it was filled with a terrifyingly destructive force. Even though the Mountain Guardian array formation was standing between them and him, everyone's bodies could not help but tremble. If they were to face this force directly, it was likely that they would be turned into ashes in an instant. Bang! They saw the outline of Ming Shui's fist strike. That incomparably powerful fist suddenly smashed onto the Mountain Guardian array formation. Rumble! The Mountain Guardian array formation trembled. The barrier rippled layer by layer. However, the great mountain peaks of the Qingyan sect continued to pour out energy. Ming Shui's attack did not shake the foundation of the Mountain Guardian array formation. Even so, the power of an advanced stage Golden Core Realm expert was still incomparably terrifying. The aftermath of the impact instantly flattened some of the mountain peaks outside the Qingyan sect, and the surrounding forest instantly turned into a barren wasteland. Seeing this, the disciples of the various sects turned pale. They gulped as they tried their best to restrain the fear and shock they were feeling inside. Was this the power of the sect leader of the Xuanian sect? With just one punch, the terrifying aftermath of the attack had destroyed 3 mountain peaks. A thought emerged in their minds at the same time. How terrifying! Previously, they had only heard about the terror of Golden Core Realm cultivators on paper and by word of mouth. Now that they were witnessing it with their own eyes, they knew that the strength of the other party could no longer be described with words. With just one punch, their bodies and souls would probably be torn apart. It was not only the disciples who were shocked, even those core formation realm elders also had pale expressions on their faces. Although they were core formation realm cultivators as well, the Zuden realm and golden core realm were not on the same level at all. The gap between the two was like the gap between heaven and earth. It was insurmountable. They knew very well that even if they worked together, they would not be a match for Ming Shui. Wan Shanhai was a top-tier powerhouse at the middle stage of the true core realm. Thanks to Yi Zan's display of sword intent, he had even comprehended his own sword intent. His own strength was already comparable to an advanced realm true core realm cultivator. Even so, faced with a super expert at the advanced stage of the golden core realm, there was only despair on their faces. Yi Zan, are you still planning to hide? After throwing that punch, the Ming Shui gave up on attacking. The power of the Mountain Guardian formation array was too powerful, and he alone was unable to break it. Do you really think that I'll leave just because I can't break this shield? Ming Shui looked around the entire Qingyan clan, but he still could not find any trace of Yi Zan. Could it be that Yi Zan had really left the Qingyan sect? Thinking this, Ming Shui could not help but frown. If that was the case, things would be troublesome. Chapter 96. Survival Instinct. Lingju, Peak, Cultivation Room. Arlise reading Omicron N Beta OX Nouvelle. So M. Yi Zan had already reached the most critical stage of the tempering process. In fact, he had already noticed Ming Shui's arrival at the Qingyan sect a long time ago. However, because the tempering of his qi and blood essence had reached the most critical juncture, he did not choose to show himself. Although the remaining gaps were extremely small, the process remained difficult. Only after his qi and blood power had been tempered 1,000 times could he form the perfect blood-red strand to fill the gaps. At that time, he would be able to reach the unity realm. If he gave up halfway, then the blood-red strand that he had spent a lot of effort to condense would collapse, and he would then have to spend several days condensing it again. It was precisely because of this that Yi Zan chose not to show himself. Moreover, as an elder of the Qingyan sect, he naturally knew that the sect was protected by the Mountain Guardian array formation. Even if Ming Shui's strength had reached the advanced stage of the Golden Core realm, he would still be unable to penetrate the Mountain Guardian array formation. Moreover, it would only take the time for one incense stick to burn before he could completely surpass the core formation realm and advance to the unity realm. Yi Zan was also quite surprised by Ming Shui's arrival. He was supposed to be the one with a score to settle with him, but they had come looking for him first. It seemed that they were desperate to kill him in case he leaked news of their crimes. In that case, he would pick a proper gravestone for them when he buried them on Qingyan Mountain. After killing Ming Shui and the others, he would bathe the Xuanyan sect in blood. As the second-ranked top sect in the Great Qian dynasty, the sect must have collected a large number of heavenly and earthly treasures in its treasury over the years. This was a good opportunity to plunder them. Perhaps the amount might even fill up his storage ring completely. Why could Ming Shui not sense Yi Zan's aura? In fact, it was not that Yi Zan had set up some secret array, but he had used the nihility technique. Compared to the aura concealment technique, the nihility technique was undoubtedly more powerful. Not only could it perfectly hide a cultivator's aura, but it could also decrease the flow of time around the cultivator. If he chose to use the nihility technique while he was in secluded cultivation, unless the other party's strength was much greater than his, they would not be able to sense his aura. I didn't expect them to bring a bunch of people over. Yi Zan suddenly narrowed his eyes slightly and inwardly sneered. After seeing these people, he understood the intentions of the Xuanyan sect. It seemed that these people were not just here to kill him, but also wanted to destroy the entire Qingyan sect. It was likely that they would not even spare cultivators of the Huoli and Shenshin sects who had come for the competition this time. In that case, their patriarch should be here as well, right? That old man must want to completely conceal the fact that the Xuanyan sect was collecting qi and blood essence. By destroying the Qingyan sect, not only would he be tying up loose ends, but he would also be able to obtain another large sum of qi and blood essence. That old man has a good plan. He wants to kill two birds with one stone. Thinking this, Yi Zan's gaze suddenly turned cold, and killing intent flashed across his eyes. Yi Zan, if you really want to hide underneath this turtle shell, then I will break it and drag you out. Patriarch, please make your move. Ming Shui suddenly bowed respectfully in a certain direction. Patriarch. Seeing this, the expressions on the faces of the crowd changed drastically, and their pupils constricted abruptly. Was he the ancestor of the Xuanian sect? How old was the patriarch for Ming Shui to be calling him as such? Also, how terrifying was his strength? The crowd felt uneasy. Whoosh! All of a sudden, a gentle breeze blew past. Before everyone could react, an old man suddenly appeared in their field of vision. He may have had white hair, but his body seemed to be filled with astonishing power. He flew through the air and slowly moved forward, his body emanating out surging qi and blood essence. Everyone felt an invisible force suddenly descend, almost strangling their necks, making it much more difficult for them to breathe. Yi Zan, you killed the personal disciples of my sect. You deserve to die. The Qingyan sect is aiding the wicked. You deserve to be exterminated. The old man stood in midair, his black robe fluttering in the wind. His words were indifferent, but they were filled with unquestionable power. He seemed to be one with heaven and earth. It felt like he could destroy everything with a single move. He spoke those words as if he was passing judgment on behalf of the heavens. If he wanted the Qingyan sect to be destroyed, then the Qingyan sect would no longer exist. If he wanted Yi Zan to die, then Yi Zan would definitely not be able to survive. In an instant, the entire mountain had turned silent. Everyone could not stop trembling. This is the peak of the core formation realm. Wan Shanhai's teeth chattered crazily as he spat out those few words with difficulty. The appearance of the Ming Shui had made him very nervous, but the appearance of this old man had engulfed him in despair. It was true that cultivators in the advanced stage of the Golden Core realm could not break through the Mountain Guardian array formation, but it was a completely different story for a peak core formation realm cultivator. The expressions on the faces of the elders of the Huoli and Shenshin sects changed drastically as well. The patriarch of the Xuanian sect was still alive, and had reached the peak of the core formation realm. As soon as those words were spoken, more than a dozen experts flew through the sky and surrounded Qingyan Mountain, each one exuding the aura of a core formation realm expert. They stood guard over every corner of the mountain. It was obvious that they did not want to let anyone go. At that moment, everyone trembled in despair. The Xuanian sect had mobilized in full force. They wanted to destroy the Qingyan sect. The elders of the Huoli and Shenshin sect were also in despair. The other party did not only want to destroy the Qingyan sect, but they might also perish alongside them. Sect leader Ming, we have nothing to do with Yi Zan. Can your sect let us go? The first elder of the Shenshin sect gritted his teeth and asked. Although the great elder of the Huoli sect did not speak up, his eyes conveyed the same question. Faced with a super powerhouse who had reached the peak of the core formation realm, they had lost all hope. Only by distancing themselves from the Qingyan sect and Yi Zan would they have a chance at survival. No matter what, this was all because Yi Zan had killed the personal disciples of the elder of the Xuanian sect, causing the other party to seek revenge. Although the three great sects were friendly with each other, it was not to the point where they could rely on each other in life or death situations. Thus, in order to survive, they could only choose to abandon the Qingyan sect. Hearing this, Wan Shanhai looked at the elders of the Huoli and Shenshin sects with disappointment. However, he did not say anything. After all, this was their choice. Lin Qing and the other elders also remained silent. The disciples of the Huoli and Shenshin sects ignored the glances they received from the disciples of the Qingyan sect. They did not want to die here. Was it wrong to admit defeat? Besides, they had nothing to do with Yi Zan. Why should they sacrifice their lives for him? However, when they thought about their original relationship with the Qingyan sect, they still felt a little shame. You want to leave. That depends on the patriarch's mood. Seeing this, Ming Shui smiled faintly. Chapter 97. Sorry I'm late. Hearing this, the expressions of the people from the Huoli and Shenshin sects changed drastically, and an ominous premonition arose in their hearts. Arliss reading Omicron N Beta OX Nouvelle. So could it be that the Xuanian sect was not going to spare anyone? Moments later, terrifying power erupted from the patriarch's body and transformed into a huge palm that smashed down toward the Mountain Guardian array formation. Damn it! This group of people from the Xuanian sect had gone crazy. Seeing this, those from the Huoli and Shenshin sects were filled with despair. The Xuanian sect was not going to let them go. The patriarch had given them his reply in the form of an attack. Could it be that this old man intended to destroy the Huoli and Shenshin sects after destroying the Qingyan sect? Their hearts were filled with despair and unwillingness. Right at this moment, that huge palm flew toward the Mountain Guardian array formation and slammed into it. Boom! The two forces collided, and the shockwaves from the impact spread out into the surroundings. In an instant, many cultivators of the Qingyan sect felt dizzy, and those with lower cultivation levels were even injured. Only cultivators who had reached the true essence realm could barely resist these shockwaves. Moreover, these shockwaves had been weakened by the Mountain Guardian array formation. If they had faced the shockwaves head-on, they would have been reduced to a pile of ashes. The expressions of the elders of the Qingyan sect changed drastically after hearing a cracking sound. The Mountain Guardian array formation, which had been emitting brilliant light, suddenly dimmed. At the same time, cracks appeared on the barrier. However, the huge palm slowly dissipated as well. The shockwaves that had swept over Wan Shanhai and the others had been weakened by the Mountain Guardian array formation, but the people of the Xuanian sect were not so lucky. The terrifying shockwaves were wild and violent as they ravaged the area outside Qingyan Mountain. Seeing this, the elders of the Xuanian sect retreated rapidly. They channeled their spiritual power to form a solidified energy barrier to protect them. The true essence realm cultivators that Li Wuji and Ji Yuda had caught earlier were discarded mercilessly by them. The two did not even have time to scream before they were turned into ashes. The Mountain Guardian array formation was full of cracks after taking just one attack. It might not be able to take another hit. At this moment, Minghe raised his hand with an indifferent expression. Once again, an enormous palm was condensed from his spiritual power. Disciples of the Qingyan sect, gather. At this moment, Wan Shanhai let out an angry roar. The spiritual power in his body suddenly surged forth. He waved his hand, and a longsword that was emitting a brilliant light and sword intent appeared in his hand. Sect leader, we are willing to live and die with the Qingyan sect. As soon as he finished speaking, countless cultivators of the Qingyan sect transformed into streams of light and gathered around Wan Shanhai. Tens of thousands of cultivators roared, and their voices filled the sky, causing the earth to tremble. Infuse your spiritual power into the array formation with me and protect the Qingyan sect. Wan Shanhai took a step forward, holding the longsword in his hand as he hovered in the air. The elders quickly released their spiritual power as well. Any cultivator who joined the Qingyan sect for more than half a year would be taught how to infuse their spiritual power into the Mountain Guardian array formation. Of course, it was impossible for a single person to power the array formation with their strength alone. Instead, they had to gather everyone's spiritual power and transform it into chi and blood essence to activate the second layer of the Mountain Guardian array formation. 20,000 cultivators sat cross-legged. The spiritual power, chi and blood essence in their bodies surged forth and slowly flowed into the Mountain Guardian array formation. Moments later, the Mountain Guardian array formation that was originally filled with cracks suddenly emitted resplendent blood-red light. A blood-red barrier suddenly appeared underneath the spider silk-like cracks. A useless struggle. Seeing this, Minghe revealed a cold smile. The huge palm suddenly released resplendent light as it flew through the air and ruthlessly smashed toward the Mountain Guardian array formation. Bang! Crack! When the huge palm slammed into the Mountain Guardian array formation, the first layer of the barrier, which was already filled with cracks, shattered. Bang! The huge palm continued on, seeking to use its destructive might to break through the second blood-colored energy barrier. In an instant, under the terrifying impact of the colliding forces, the blood-colored energy barrier distorted. The expressions of the 20,000 Qingyan sect cultivators changed, and their originally rosy faces turned extremely pale. Suddenly, cracks appeared on the huge palm. When everyone saw this scene, their eyes were filled with joy. Could it really be blocked? However, moments later, the cracked huge palm suddenly shattered, turning into countless sharp blades of light instantly pierced through the blood-colored energy barrier. Phew! The cultivators of the Qingyan sect all spat out fresh blood, and the aura around their bodies became erratic. Fortunately, the backlash of the array formation shattering was dispersed among the sect leader, the various elders, and the 20,000 Qingyan sect cultivators. Otherwise, they would not have been able to resist this backlash at all. Even so, many cultivators were still heavily injured. However, the blades of light formed by the shattered giant palm did not disappear. They were once again filled with destructive power as they whistled toward the crowd. At this moment, countless cultivators had despair written all over their faces. Wan Shanhai wiped the blood from the corners of his mouth, his eyes were filled with madness. He had another method to resist this power. He could self-destruct the true core in his body. In addition to the sword intent that he had comprehended recently, there might still be a chance of blocking this attack. However, just as the power in his dantian gradually turned violent, a gentle force suddenly descended out of nowhere and slowly stabilized his true core. At the same time, incomparably resplendent sword chi suddenly soared into the sky from the direction of the Lingju peak. In the blink of an eye, it traversed through space and tore apart those blades of light with crushing force. This soaring sword chi swept across the sky like a half-moon arc. In an instant, countless clouds dissipated. "Sorry, I'm late." A gentle voice suddenly rang out. However, those words contained a monstrous killing intent. A tall figure suddenly appeared in the distance after those words were spoken. He took a step forward and traversed space to arrive in the air above Qingyan Mountain. He stood in the sky. His snow-white robe fluttered in the wind. His incomparably handsome face was stern. His starry eyes were filled with monstrous killing intent. Chapter 98. The Greedy Li Wuji. Yi Zan. Arliss reading Omicron N Beta OX Nouvelle. So M. Li Wuji was the first to recognize Yi Zan. His gaze seemed to be filled with monstrous killing intent. However, if one observed carefully, one would discover that there was a hint of greed in his eyes. From Li Wuji's perspective, Yi Zan was able to survive the 5 poisons powder because he had obtained the treasures of a Unity Realm expert. Hee, you sure took your time. Seeing him finally appear, Ming Shui smiled. This guy was indeed hiding in the Qingyan sect, and probably only came out because there was nowhere to hide after the Patriarch shattered the Mountain Guardian Array formation. However, his presence here would be useless anyway. Today, all of them would die. Yi Zan, how did you? Wan Shanhai's gaze fell on Yi Zan as he revealed a complicated expression. Although he did not hate Yi Zan, it was ultimately because of the latter that the Qingyan sect was experiencing such a calamity. Yi Zan, hurry up and escape. Lin Qing cried out anxiously. If she had not guessed wrongly, Yi Zan must have reached the Golden Core realm. As long as the rest of them stopped the Xuanian sect at all costs, Yi Zan had the best chance of escaping. With Yi Zan's talent, he might be able to reach the peak of the core formation realm in the future, or even the Unity realm, which no one had achieved in the Great Qian dynasty for hundreds of years. Then, he would avenge them. This guy was too impulsive. Why did he appear at such a critical moment? Teacher, Yu and Li Qingyan's eyes focused on their teacher's figure, and their eyes turned red. When the Mountain Guardian Array formation had shattered, they had lost all hope. Although they did not regret it, their hearts were filled with sadness to not have been buried together with their teacher. Still, they hoped that Yi Zan would leave quickly. They had not expected their teacher to suddenly appear. Although their teacher was very strong, could he really face such a terrifying enemy? The other party had mobilized the power of their entire sect. In addition to the 13 core formation realm experts, they also had a peak core formation realm expert and 3 advanced stage golden core realm experts. Ming He stood in midair and stared at Yi Zan expressionlessly. This was Yi Zan, the strongest genius who had suppressed the Great Qian dynasty. Although Yi Zan had used his sword chi to directly destroy the blades of light formed by his giant palm attack, he was not bothered. The remnant energy in the blades of light did not even constitute 1% of his strength. However, when he saw Yi Zan, the latter still piqued his interest. Although he had been in secluded cultivation for hundreds of years, he had still heard of Yi Zan's feats and achievements. Today, he finally saw him in person. What surprised him was that even though he had reached the peak of the core formation realm, he could not sense any aura fluctuations from Yi Zan's body. Moreover, the latter would only exhibit some energy fluctuations the moment he made a move. Even so, he could not sense Yi Zan's exact cultivation level. It was obvious that Yi Zan had mastered an extremely high-level secret technique. Moreover, with Yi Zan's talent, he was a rare super genius. However, for the sake of the Xuanian sect, this guy could not be allowed to live. With his hands behind his back, Ming He said expressionlessly, "Kill him." He was too lazy to make a move personally. In the entire Qingyan sect, only the Mountain Guardian Array formation from before was worth his effort. Now that the Mountain Guardian Array formation had been shattered, Ming Shui and the rest of the Xuanian sect were more than enough to destroy the Qingyan sect. Moreover, he could also take this opportunity to absorb all of the qi and blood essence from the slain cultivators here. Perhaps he might even condense another blood-red strand today. Li Wuji, who was not far away, displayed a hint of excitement after hearing Ming He's words. At the same time, Li Wuji signaled an old man beside him. The old man was called Gongsun Wuji. He was also one of Duan Wuji and Duan Wuyi's teachers. Gongsun Wuji had been in secluded cultivation earlier, so Li Wuji had handled the investigation of the murders himself. Now that the Xuanian sect was going to annihilate the Qingyan sect, Gongsun Wuji naturally had to make an appearance. Moreover, the two of them were as close as brothers, so Li Wuji naturally told Gongsun Wuji about the possibility that Yizan might have obtained some treasures of an ancient Unity Realm expert. Since the patriarch was not bothered to make a move, then this opportunity would be theirs. Whoosh! Li Wuji and Gongsun Wuji looked at each other with greed-filled eyes. In an instant, Li Wuji's advanced stage Zuden realm aura swept out. He pulled out a chain that exuded a destructive blood-colored aura. This was Li Wuji's weapon, a high-grade spirit weapon. If one was entangled by the blood-colored power in the chain, even if one was a Zuden realm cultivator, the power of that person's dantian would be temporarily sealed. Yizan, hurry up and leave. Seeing this, Lin Qing clenched her teeth. She then rushed into the sky above Mount Qingyan. She had to create an opportunity for Yizan to escape. He could not die. Although her efforts might be for naught, Lin Qing still made a move without hesitation. She did not want this guy who gave her an inexplicable feeling to die just like that. It's just a mere Zuden realm cultivator. I can handle it. Yizan smiled and waved his hand slightly. A gentle power instantly enveloped Lin Qing. Seeing this, Lin Qing was startled. She was actually unable to break free from this power. My guess was indeed correct. This guy had already reached the Golden Core realm. It's time to settle my enmity with the Xuanian sect. Yizan used his fingers to form sword chi and looked expressionlessly at Li Wuji, who was flying toward him. In the eyes of the disciples of the Qingyan sect, Li Wuji was as fast as lightning, making it impossible for anyone to dodge his charge. However, in Yizan's eyes, Li Wuji was as slow as a tortoise. Li Wuji and Gongsun Wuji had also been among the main group that besieged Yizan that day. It was precisely because of this that the two of them wanted to eliminate the root of the problem after learning that Yizan was still alive. You, Qingyan, watch carefully. I will show you how to use these techniques. Yizan's gaze was indifferent as he stood in midair, but his gentle voice was transmitted to Yu and Li Qingyan. Hearing this, the two could not help but be shocked. It was obvious that their teacher wanted to use his battle with the elders of the Xuanian sect to teach them. The distance between the two parties was less than 1,000 meters, which could be bridged in the blink of an eye. The chains in Li Wuji's hands were filled with blood and chi essence that soared to the sky, and was like a group of snakes trying to entangle Yizan. Seeing this, a faint smile appeared on the corners of Yizan's mouth. His index and middle fingers slowly came together, and then he gently slashed forward. Although it was only one move, it contained endless sword chi. Sword chi suddenly materialized out of nowhere, and swept toward Li Wuji like a hurricane. Chapter 99. One strike for one person. Windstorm Sword Technique. Mid-grade black rank. Arliss reading Omicron N Beta OX Nouvelle. So M. In a top-tier sect, this was not considered a high-grade martial technique. However, the moment this sword chi hurricane appeared, everyone's pupils suddenly contracted. Clang clang clang. When the blood-colored chain landed on the sword chi hurricane, the chi and blood essence that filled the sky was instantly torn apart. Following that, cracks appeared on the chain, which continued to multiply. How is this possible? Seeing this, Li Wuji's expression changed. The spiritual power in his dantian gushed out to form a strong energy shield in front of him. However, everything was futile. Yizan's sword chi instantly pierced through the energy shield and Li Wuji. Was this really Yizan? Li Wuji's eyes were filled with disbelief, and his life force started to fade. Why is this guy so terrifying? His heart was filled with despair and fear. He had imagined many possibilities, but the possibility of him not being able to take even one of his opponent's moves was not one of them. Moreover, judging from his relaxed expression, this had just been a casual strike, and he had not even used his weapon. It was obvious that the difference in strength between the two of them was akin to the difference between heaven and earth. The light in Li Wuji's pupils finally dissipated, and his body smashed into the ground below. The surroundings fell silent. Li Wuji, the ninth elder of the Xuanian sect, a top-tier expert in the advanced stage of the Zuden realm, had been killed by his opponent's finger. How is this possible? Gongsun Wuji, who was not far away, could not help but narrow his eyes when he saw what had happened. He was very clear about Yizan's strength. When he had been besieging the latter back then, they had easily overpowered him. It had only been 2 months since then, yet he had instantly killed Li Wuji, who was at the same level as Gongsun Wuji himself. How was this possible? How terrifyingly strong was this guy? Was he at the middle stage of the true core realm or the advanced stage of the true core realm? Gongsun Wuji did not know, but he knew that if he did not start running quickly, he would become a cold corpse. Whoosh! Gongsun Wuji immediately halted his advance, and then fled frantically in the direction of the patriarch. Ha! Since you've come, stay a while. Seeing him run off, a sneer hung on the corners of Yizan's mouth. Moments later, he slowly raised his fingers again and gently swiped in Gongsun Wuji's direction. Suddenly, a sword chi hurricane appeared again and rushed toward Gongsun Wuji like a violent storm. No! Accompanied by an indignant roar, the sword chi hurricane engulfed Gongsun Wuji. Oh, right, you were here too. Suddenly, Yi Zan's gaze turned to Ji Yuda, who was in the crowd, and he waved his sleeve once again. In an instant, another sword chi hurricane appeared, sweeping toward Ji Yuda, this time, flickering with bolts of lightning. Windstorm slash, high-grade black rank. Damn it. Seeing this, Ji Yuda's expression changed greatly. This terrifying power had firmly locked onto him. Li Wuji and Gongsun Wuji had been killed by Yi Zan easily. With his limited strength, there was no way he would do any better. Moreover, this attack was even more terrifying than the previous two. If it reached him, there might not even be ashes left to bury him. However, just as the sword chi hurricane was about to engulf Ji Yuda, a cold snort echoed across the sky. A dazzling stream of light flashed by, and Ming Shui, the sect leader of the Xuanian sect, suddenly appeared in front of Ji Yuda. His eyes were icy cold, and his golden core power gushed out of his palm. He then struck the incoming sword chi hurricane. Boom! The two powerful forces collided with each other, and both the skies and the ground trembled. The shockwaves wreaked havoc on the surroundings. It was like a scene from an apocalyptic movie. Moments later, Ming Shui waved his sleeve again and destroyed the violent sword chi hurricane. It was only then that the turbulent surroundings gradually calmed down. Thank you for saving my life, sect leader. Ji Yuda looked at Yi Zan with fear on his face, and then bowed to Ming Shui gratefully. Ming Shui did not pay attention to him, but looked at Yi Zan with shock on his face. Golden Core Realm. The other party had casually attacked, but the power of that attack was comparable to that of a Golden Core Realm cultivator. If he had not reacted quickly enough, Ji Yuda would have died. This guy was only 20 years old, but he had already reached the Golden Core Realm. Was this not too unbelievable? Ming Shui's heart was full of shock. He had never imagined that Yi Zan would be a Golden Core Realm cultivator. Moreover, he did not even think that the other party had reached the true Core Realm. After all, no matter how monstrous Yi Zan was, he was only 20 years old. Once a cultivator reached the core formation realm, the difficulty of breaking through each minor realm was extremely terrifying. However, reality had other ideas. Other than him and the two vice sect leaders, only the forefather could deal with Yi Zan's casual attack. Other than them, the other core formation elders would almost have certainly died. Wan Shanhai saw this scene unfold and was transfixed. He was completely stunned. He had been extremely curious about Yi Zan's true cultivation level, but unfortunately, his spiritual sense had not been able to sense anything at all. So it turned out that this guy's strength was so terrifying. Even he would only die if he had been on the receiving end of that sword chi hurricane. One had to know that although Wan Shanhai was only at the middle stage of the true core realm, with the support of his sword intent, his strength was already comparable to that of an advanced stage true core realm cultivator. Even so, he knew that the sword chi hurricane would kill him. Compared to Wan Shanhai, the elders of the Huoli and Shenshin sects were even more shocked. Was the person in front of them really the heavily injured Yi Zan who was supposed to be on the verge of death? Was this guy not only a middle-stage Zuden realm cultivator? How did he kill Li Wuji and Gongsun Wuji, who were late-stage Zuden realm cultivators, with just one strike? Unbelievably, the sect leader of the Xuanian sect, Ming Shui, had to personally deal with the sword chi hurricane. Their hearts were filled with doubt, shock, and other complicated emotions. Was this guy really only 20 years old? How had he already reached the Golden Core realm at such a young age? This was too terrifying. Chapter 100. Today, I shall give you an opportunity. At the same time, Ming He, who had been standing casually in midair just now, suddenly moved. Arliss reading Omicron N Beta OX Nouvelle. So M. Yi Zan. Ming He raised his eyelids slightly and slowly spat out two words. The hands behind his back loosened. Yi Zan actually killed Li Wuji and Gongsun Wuji in his presence. This was undoubtedly an affront to his dignity. He had no clue that Yi Zan was that powerful, so even he did not have time to react. 2 elders had fallen. The sect had suffered a serious loss. You are only 20 years old, but have already reached the Golden Core realm. Young man, you are indeed a top-notch genius. In these 500 years of lived, among the geniuses of seen, you are ranked in the top 3. Minghe looked at Yizan expressionlessly, and his indifferent voice resounded across the sky. But your youth is also your fatal flaw. You are not strong enough. Although Golden Core realm cultivators are powerful, from my perspective, you're just a rather strong ant. As soon as he finished speaking, an incomparably terrifying pressure suddenly descended. Amidst this vast sea of pressure, even the ground could not stop trembling. This was the power of a peak core formation realm expert. When the crowd saw this, they were aghast. Their bodies could not stop trembling, and some of the weaker practitioners even directly knelt on the ground. Even the elders of the Xuanyan sect felt the pressure. However, their hearts were filled with joy. The Qingyan sect would have no chance of making a comeback. Wan Shanhai and other elders despaired. Weighed down by this terrible pressure, they simply could not even lift a finger to resist. Young man, you should be honored. Because you will die at the hands of a peak core formation realm powerhouse. As soon as he finished speaking, Minghe took a step forward and his figure suddenly disappeared. Ridiculous. At this moment, a cold laugh suddenly rang out, followed by the appearance of an endless and seemingly boundless power. In an instant, the terrifying pressure that was originally weighing down on everyone suddenly dissipated. Cultivators of the Qingyan sect, today, I, Yizan, will grant you an opportunity. As soon as he finished speaking, the god-slaying sword suddenly appeared in Yizan's hand. Strong gusts of wind suddenly blew past. Holding the god-slaying sword in his hand, Yizan stood in midair. His long black hair fluttered in the wind. He looked at Minghe calmly, as if he was a sword god who stood proudly above everything else in the world. When everyone saw this, they were shocked. Moments later, sword chi that was as vast as the ocean, and as boundless as the stars, soared into the sky while emitting an incomparably bright light. The sword chi was filled with a domineering power, which instantly crushed the pressure Minghe was exerting. Yizan, with one sword, suppressed the entire world. It was as if he was a sword god who looked down on the world. His body emitted an incredibly domineering aura. This scene was deeply engraved in the hearts of countless cultivators. Many years later, there was a legend passed down in the Qingyan sect that described the valor and greatness of a peerless expert who had used a single sword to shake the heavens and the earth, rescuing the sect from danger. The terrifying and tyrannical sword chi raged wildly, causing the whole world to tremble. This was Yizan's sword overlord physique. Everyone felt the terrifying pressure that was originally weighing down on their bodies suddenly disappear. Yizan's sword chi seemed to be unrivaled. At this moment, a resplendent stream of light flashed past, and Minghe's figure suddenly appeared not far from Yizan. Victory had been in his grasp, but his arrogant expression was now gone. What had replaced it was extreme fear. Peak of the core formation realm. Yizan was actually in the same realm as him. Minghe went completely mad. This felt even more ridiculous than if a supreme unity realm expert had suddenly appeared in the Great Qian dynasty. Yizan was only 20 years old, but he had already reached the peak of the core formation realm. Was this guy really human? He had cultivated for hundreds of years, and massacred countless people to gather enough chi and blood essence, in order to reach the peak of the core formation realm. Although this was related to his damaged cultivation foundation, it was enough to show everyone just how difficult it was for cultivators to reach the peak of the core formation realm. How is this possible? Minghe's pupils suddenly constricted, his eyes bulged with disbelief. Why shouldn't it be possible? Everything is possible when I'm involved. Yizan stood in midair, his body emitting a domineering sword chi that could seemingly tear even space apart. You are just a piece of trash who spent hundreds of years cultivating before breaking through to the peak of the core formation realm. Moreover, you are just a piece of trash who relied on slaughtering mortals to collect their chi and blood essence. Only then did you barely reach the requirements to advance to the peak of the core formation realm. Yizan's words were filled with a domineering aura, and every word was aimed at Minghe's heart. Minghe's expression immediately turned ugly. If I wanted to kill you, it would be as easy as squashing an ant. As soon as he finished speaking, he raised the god-slaying sword. He pointed the sharp tip of the sword pointed at Minghe, and then he enunciated the following words very clearly. Today, the Xuanyan sect will be destroyed. Arrogant brat. Hearing this, Minghe became furious. He reached out his hand, and a long black spear suddenly appeared. All Xuanyan sect cultivators, follow my lead and kill this kid. Minghe's body was filled with surging energy, and his voice resounded in the sky like thunder. Both of them were at the peak of the core formation realm, and it would be difficult to determine the victor within a short period of time. Therefore, Minghe wanted to utilize the combined power of the Xuanian sect to kill Yi Zan. Underworld Blood and the elders of the mysterious dark sect had already been petrified on the spot when Yi Zan killed Li Wuji and Gongsun Wuji with lightning-like methods. To be able to resolve the pressure of the forefathers so easily, the opponent's true realm instantly leapt out. Yi Zan, he had actually stepped into the completion of the core formation realm. For a moment, it was as if they had been struck by lightning. Their eyes were filled with disbelief, and it was hard for them to accept this reality for a moment. It was not until the voice of the Nether River suddenly exploded in their minds that they came back to their senses. We will obey the orders of the forefather. In an instant, all the cultivation practitioners of the mysterious dark sect suddenly exploded the power in their bodies, turning into a stream of light and attacking Yi Zan together. Seeing this, Yi Zan's expression did not change at all. Attack him from all sides. That was good too. He would not have to kill them one by one. Good too. He would not have to kill them one by one. Good too.